Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rage and Love, where we passionately debate, explore, and review topics about religion, science, history, and current events. Today, we are going to definitely be discussing a lot of current events. How are you doing today, Joe?
Hey, doing pretty good, AJ. It's going to be an interesting stream this evening. We appreciate everybody that tunes in. Yeah, it's been a last crazy couple of. It has only been 2 weeks. It feels like it's been longer than 2 weeks, but
Uh, it's
I
been a
think a lot of
while, yeah,
yeah. Maybe I've lost track of time. Um,
about 10 days or so.
yeah, so I mean, I don't think we've really actually. This is our first live stream we've done since we did our election stream. Actually, um,
Yeah, I'm sorry that we promised we were going to do a post-election stream, and then the results. I think they caught everybody off guard, and I'm sure everybody's kind of struggling in the same way that we did. Like we were kind of speechless, and we didn't know what to say, and eventually we decided to wait a little bit and kind of see what came of the election and the decisions on the House of Representatives and the Senate and all of that stuff, and also the cabinet picks. We were kind of uh, waiting to see how to go about this. So we appreciate everybody coming in on this second part of the election stream. And joining us today, we have a guest actually, and it's a fellow new YouTuber who I met through my very first live show appearance on Truth Wanted. And he was my very first call, in a call-in show. And I'm not sure which one of us was more nervous about it, but I think we both made it through, and we have continued to make content for our channels and support each other through this growth. So I'm really excited to have him here with us today. And some of you may remember him from some of his calls on the Atheist Experience shows. Welcome, Rogue Show.
hey,
And
Rogue Show, welcome.
So,
how are you doing? How are you feeling about this election in a nutshell? In a few sentences, how are you feeling?
election in a nutshell, it was dog shit, but we might have had it coming.
We
Sounds
had
about
it
right.
coming. We had it coming. Well, it was a horrible election, and I agree. It's a bunch of dog shit.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's probably the best way to describe it. Yeah, I've seen it. Some people be like, "Hey, if you have a bowl of dog shit and you have a bowl of like some dry cereal, like, are you gonna pass up on that dry cereal to eat some of that dog shit? No, probably not. Just eat the dry cereal. Just chuck some water. Handle it like it's probably definitely better than the dog shit bowl." But no, half of the voters were like, "Hey, that sounds delicious."
Well, I mean, should we? Should we? I guess we should be kind of happy. At least half of the nation voted with the right mindset, but then it really sucks that we're split like down the middle. It's like so much division, and so many people thought that that would be the better option versus what we were where we were heading. It's like things were getting better in the last 4 years. I don't think a lot of people actually understood that it was not just a recession here in the United States. It was a global recession. Yes, people were voting based on their pocketbook and based on the middle class struggling, but anyone with a with just a little bit of research could have seen that we were slowly coming out of this global recession and things were starting to improve, and now we elected Trump, and he's gonna fucking ride on the next 1 to 2 years claiming that he's the one who fucking fixed everything, when in reality
Yeah.
the first 2 years of his administration, it's going to be things that were progressively getting better from the 4 years under the Biden administration. How do you guys feel about that?
Um, I mean, yeah, like Trump did this. Trump did this the last time. Like he said, I did the I did this under the Obama administration. He just
Mm.
said it was him and not Obama.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. He wrote on the great economy that Obama brought back when from the fucking crack economy that we used to call it. I mean, the Bush administration put us in like the worst economic situation ever when Bush left his second term, and it took 8 years to get
Yeah.
out of that recession. And we did. After 4 years, things were looking better. And after the second term of Obama, I agree with you completely, Roadshow. Trump rode that wave. It seems like Republicans usually get to ride the wave of the Democratic the Democrats coming in and
Successes.
fixing the
Yeah.
bullshit that they mess up, and then
Yeah.
and then they blame it on the Democrats. It's
Yeah, they
But
blame on the
insane.
Democrats what they fucking mess up, but they
Yeah.
take all the fucking credit what the Democrats have fixed.
for real,
It's
for real. Yeah, I mean, so. Oh, yeah, that's a good comment right there. It says, yeah, it's difficult to overestimate the stupidity of a large portion of the US population. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say, oh, it's half of the US, but it's not half of the US. It's 1/3
Most.
of voters, like people that
qualified voters,
qualify
right?
to
Yeah.
vote. Okay, so it's not half the US, but it's still a really big portion of the US.
Yeah, I guess I did misstate that, but I was referring to the actual people that did vote. It split 50-50 almost, more or less.
I mean, 8 million.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there is some. I think there is some stupidity when it comes to not vote to the 8 million people who did not vote.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
talking
those are
about
the
mainly. I'm talking about mainly like people who could vote, like who
Yeah.
could, like who was registered and shit, but didn't vote.
Yeah, it's
And
like 1/3 of the people that are actually eligible to vote, and so that's like 70 million people that didn't vote but could have. That's a big
so
number. That's
so
a big number.
what do we do to get these people to be involved in the election? You know, why most people that don't vote, they feel that their vote either from what I've experienced in the past when I talk to people that don't vote, it's usually saying that their vote doesn't matter, so why should they
Yeah.
vote? That's usually one of the main things. And the other is, I don't like either of the candidates, so I'm not going to vote for either. But
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of like
that's
different
just as
aspects to
that's
it.
just as bad. You know, if you say you don't like either candidate, so you don't vote, you still need to look at both of them, and then still cast a vote for the with the lesser of the two evil. I guess you would say, because
yeah,
otherwise you're not gonna have any say, and then probably the most fucked up one's gonna get in power. You know?
Well, it's like the analogy that we just used, right? You got a bowl of dog shit and a bowl of dry cereal. Like it doesn't matter whether, like, if you don't vote, either one of those you're gonna have to eat it. So if you had a choice, which one would you eat? Go and make that choice.
the problem,
It may not be
yeah,
the best, but
the one thing I like heard from Lefty, the one thing the main reason I think I know that people didn't vote was well, at least the left, in particular, um, genocide. Or
mm,
they say, why would I vote for genocide? Well, you're going to fucking vote for genocide either way.
true.
But one's
Yeah.
one's far less shit. One's probably a far less shittier genocide. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's very true. I mean, it's still gonna happen. So like, at least you made a choice. Like whether that one was the worst or the least worst. I don't know how to label it, but yeah,
That
like
is first,
Yeah,
yeah.
neither one is gonna be great, and neither one is gonna be perfect. But you have to make a choice, and that's what
yeah. Trump's
voting
gonna mow
means.
down Gaza.
Oh yeah,
Oh, for sure he is. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's kind of scary to think what he's going to do with any of the current conflicts that we have going on, and I'm assuming he's going to let Putin just go ahead and take over the rest of Ukraine as
oh
well.
Ukraine,
So I
yeah,
mean, yeah.
yeah. He's
I mean,
one of
what's
his.
up with Putin already has North Korean troops like fighting on the ground, like that's insane. And Putin didn't authorize that until after he saw that Trump was going to be the actual person being reelected. It's going to be the next president. So I mean, that's just kind of crazy. I mean,
Didn't we?
Trump was the one
Didn't
writing
we
love
fight the
letters
same
to North.
people in the Cold War? Russia
In the,
and North Korea.
yeah, that is true. Are we reliving history? Is it just going in a big circle, coming full circle around again?
Well, that's what happens when you don't learn from history, you know.
You're destined to repeat itself, I guess, right?
Yeah, if you don't learn a lesson from it, then you're bound to repeat it again. So speaking of repeating history, here we are. We're going to repeat history, just like in 2016. We got Trump elected again. So we're for this episode specifically, one of the things that we're going to talk about is one of the most polarizing, the current political climate, and one of the most controversial, I would say, aspects of it is going to be his cabinet picks. All right, because a lot of these picks have really alarming implications, because they're heavily Christian nationalist supporters that he's picking for his cabinet. A lot of them who support Project 2025. So we're gonna break down what some of these things means for the future of the country and why they should matter to anyone that's listening today. And we're gonna explore um, the reasons behind Trump's continued appeal to certain demographics of Americans, what draws people in, what his supporters are saying, and what that means for our society in general, and the way that the country is going to progress. And I understand that this topic may hit close to home for many of those people listening today. And we are also going to discuss, whether we should set boundaries with friends, family, coworkers, who support all these hateful or harmful rhetoric that we're hearing, and what ethical considerations these type of conversations have. But this episode isn't about division, it's about understanding the forces at play and empowering ourselves to make informed decisions. That's how we always aim for, right? To give people the right tools to make informed decisions, to make better decisions, so we don't end up over here again repeating history. So grab a drink, preferably one with a high alcohol content if you have one at hand, or like Seth Andrews will do, just take a gummy and settle in, and let's get started.
He's never gonna outlive that, huh? The gummy that he took. It's like
I
everyone's gonna.
know, for Seth, he was saying that he was so affected by the whole thing going on with the election that he hadn't been sleeping. So a friend of him gave him a gummy, like a THC gummy, and he had it there in his nightstand for a couple nights, and he was scared to take it. And then one night he was like, "All right, I'm gonna do this." So he took the gummy, and then it did not go as planned.
You want to
Apparently,
hear a
they
Seth Andrews
hyped him up.
impression?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah, good.
Okay. I couldn't help myself. I was high.
I like that.
That was pretty good. That was spot on, man. That's good. Yeah, man. I love Seth Andrews.
Nice.
He's awesome. I actually
Yeah.
got to meet him in person one time, and his voice is just as deep, but he's like twice as tall as me. Like we took a photo together, and he was like squatting down, and he was still like way up there. It was pretty
Oh
cool,
man. And if you pair him up with Johnny P, it's ASMR.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, wasn't that like a couple like 2 weeks ago that they were? No, it was last week. It was last week, right?
Or they
I
were
think
both on a show, right?
they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
It's probably also like the 26th. I remember like 26th season. I was like binge watching Atheist Experience while playing some video games, and they were on when Seth Andrews was like he was under a cold or something.
So his voice was getting
Uh,
extra deep, I assume.
yeah.
It was
Whenever
actually
he's
raspy.
Raspy, okay.
yeah, it was like a little bit different, but it was like still like he's very deep. Yeah, like he never loses that radio host voice.
All right, so I'm sorry to get everything misdirected with talking about Seth Andrews and the gummy.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
worshiping.
yeah.
They're worshiping Trump. We're worshiping Seth Andrews.
There we go.
Yeah,
I
exactly,
think it's
man.
better
I
to worship
mean,
Seth Andrews because yeah, that's not even comparable.
yeah,
True.
I called his show a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, "Hey, remember me? I met you in Houston. Like, I'm the one that had the cochlear implant." He was like, "Oh yeah, I remember you," because he was talking about his dad was deaf and had a cochlear implant too. And I was like, "Let's, we need to do a show together." And he was like, "Oh yeah, let's do it." He was like, "Just tell me when, and I'll go on your show." So I might have him on. We need to like coordinate the time. So, but I'm
Yeah,
excited
that
for
would be
that.
awesome.
Like, yeah, that would be really cool. Anyways, let's talk about these cabinet picks, guys. Let's start with the non-cabinet pick for this ridiculous uh supposed agency that they gave the acronym Doji, like, how do you pronounce
Doge.
that?
Yeah,
Doge.
Dogecoin,
Fucking
Okay.
Dogecoin.
Doge. Yeah,
Yeah, right. It was meant to be, yeah, like a reference to the meme coin, the cryptocurrency that the Musk's always promoting. And but I
Yeah.
mean, way to make running and an entire nation a joke, right? Like they made a
Way to
joke out of
fuck up.
everything,
Way to
for
fuck up the
real,
economy and a meme.
right,
right?
right. I
Like,
don't know. I used to respect Elon, but not anymore. He's when he first came out, his whole reasoning for buying Twitter and changing it to X was because he was against, you know, um,
yeah,
basically freedom. He was saying freedom of speech was being blocked basically, and Twitter was shadow banning all these people and all types of stuff like that. But and he also said when he originally bought Twitter that he wouldn't support any presidential candidates. That he would stay neutral, and then all of a sudden he turned into Trump's biggest ass
Trumper.
licker. And I don't know exactly what happened, but it's just insane. Like he went from day to night like within a year. It's just crazy how his whole priorities like completely switched.
Did you ever notice that roadshow, like Elon Musk being sort of like liberal and
I
atheist
didn't really
at
follow.
first?
I didn't really follow Elon
Oh,
Musk's that
okay.
much.
Okay.
When I only started getting the politics, I've yeah, when I really started getting the politics, uh, my first impression of him was him being narcissistic and stupid.
Yeah. I mean, but that's like what you need to be a sort of cult leader. Cult leaders, like the first requirement is being a narcissist. So,
Yeah,
He fits
yeah.
perfectly with that then. I mean, the
and
reason that I think I know so much about him is because our kid was really into Teslas and big time. He was like crazy about Elon for like I don't know 2 years straight. All he talked about was Teslas and like knew everything about Teslas. So like I actually
Yeah.
started reading into Elon and learning a little bit about him, and I kind of respected him. He seemed like he was an okay person. Like he actually cared for the environment and cared for humanity. That's
Yeah,
kind of
he
the
was
impression
always,
I got from him. But
yeah,
I
that
do
was one of
see
the things he would always talk about, like he wanted to progress society and help humanity and all of that. So to me, that was like, okay, that sounds cool.
like he was really pissed at Trump. Like he was actually serving on during Trump's first term. Trump created it was like I don't remember what it was called, but it was like he created like this meeting of all these top like execs and CEOs that would sit at the White House briefing room with him, and Elon was like invited to be part of that. And I remember that he refused to do it after because he was pissed that Trump pulled out of the Paris Accords, and
Yeah.
that was like a big thing. And then now it's like he doesn't even care about that. It's like I
Yeah,
don't know.
he was very much about like the climate, and that was the whole idea with the Teslas, with the electric cars, right? Just to help the climate, but I don't know where things went wrong. Like, did the money get to his head? Did the power get to his head? Because at first he seemed like, even though he did have a lot of money, he was still someone that wanted to use that money for a good cause. But now he's just throwing it at Trump and like might as well just throw it into the toilet and flush it.
So exceptionally average said, in my opinion, he intended to turn it into a conservative pro-Putin Republican fascist echo chamber from the start. So he's talking about Twitter, which
Yeah. Yeah.
I never thought that
And-
exceptionally average, but I mean now I definitely see that.
I mean, I disagree. He probably it's probably more like pro Putin Nazi fascist echo chamber.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, I think you're for sure.
Well, it's kind of crazy though. I can't remember. Oh, man,
Yeah,
who
Nick
was
Fuentes
he?
is on. Nick Fuentes is unblocked.
Oh
Next.
yeah.
Oh, and that
Yeah.
guy is just
That's the
yeah,
guy.
the
The
most
one that's
racist.
the one that was recently saying
Yeah, recently got
about the
pressed.
woman,
Recently
your
charges.
body, my choice, right? Was that the same one that said your body, my choice to woman?
I believe he's the one who did say that. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that was him.
but
So
he's
again,
known for saying bigotry stuff
everybody,
and very
yeah,
racist comments.
yeah. But as far as Elon Musk goes, like this Department of Government Aid Efficiency non-government agency that Trump created for him. Trump said that Musk and the other guy, I'm sorry, I'm probably gonna mispronounce it, Ramaswamy, are going to work from outside the government to offer the White House advice and guidance. And they're going to partner with the Office of Management and Budget to drive large scale structural reform and create an entrepreneurial approach to government that we've never seen before. In Trump's words, obviously, because we've never seen anything before. Nobody's ever
We've
seen
never seen the
anything.
economy change.
Right.
I don't
So
know. With no oversight, they can basically say any program needs to be removed without any type of oversight to agree with it. From what I understand, Elon made a tweet, if you call it that anymore, on X right after he was said to be put
You
in that
mean X.
position. Yeah, he sent an X. So he had said basically that he was looking forward, to cutting all these programs, but nothing would be cut that wasn't voted on by the people. So he's basically saying they're going to set up like polls. I don't know if you've seen, he's done this type of stuff before on X, where he'll ask like, should I unblock somebody, and then he lets everybody vote on it, and then based on if everybody agrees that person should be unblocked, then he'll unblock them. He'll be like, the people have spoken. So I'm assuming he wants to do something similar, like, hey, should we cut school lunches? Everybody vote on it, on this poll that I created, and if the fucking poll gets more votes, then
It's probably gonna like coincidentally agree with every. The polls are probably gonna like say yes, cut school lunches,
right,
and it just turns out they're a bunch of fucking bots.
Yeah, I know, like how exactly, bots are a huge issue. I know that he says that he's like taking care of that, but I don't believe that shit. Like,
No,
his
his subscribers are a bunch of bots. Like he programmed a bunch of.
that is actually though on one of the pages of Project 2025 to cut school lunches. So it's a very likely thing to happen.
I don't get that. I don't
go
really
ahead,
get
Roach.
that. Like, okay, fine, indoctrinate the kids something, but cut their lunches. But cut their fucking lunches. Let them starve or some shit.
I would say their reasoning is really dumb. They're saying that it's because after COVID, well, I'm sorry, during COVID, they started giving all the kids free lunch, right? Not just the ones that were under the poverty guidelines and all of that. So they say that after COVID, they continued to give all the kids lunch, and that was a waste. that they should go back to only giving the very poor kids lunch. Like, come on, this is it's a public school. Like, giving every single kid lunch for free is not, it's definitely not gonna bankrupt you. Like, it's part of why people pay taxes, for public schools. So I would be perfectly fine with my taxes being used to give lunch to any kid that wants it.
I mean, these public schools built these huge ass. Well, at least here in Texas, so we have these referendums where they build like these $1 million football stadiums for the schools. It's like, but they don't want to be able to fund, a lunch for a child.
Yeah, that you have to prove that you're poor in order to receive free lunch. That is just ridiculous. Just like, just give all the school kids their lunch. They come on.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. But yeah, I
Yeah.
Who
mean,
knows? Maybe you'll probably find a homeless kid in a tux. Who knows?
yeah, but that's gonna be a pretty hard one. But the interesting thing that I noticed about this agency that Elon Musk is going to be running, and that he's likely going to be cutting costs by cutting kids' lunches, is that since it's outside of the government, they don't go by the Federal Advisory Committee Act, which is what dictates how agencies are supposed to be run that are advising the government. So, while this agency overall will follow some of those rules, because Elon Musk does not work for the government, he's not going to have to work to follow any of these rules. And like, he's not going to have to disclose his assets or any kind of, potential conflict of interest, which I'm sure he has a ton of them. So yeah, I feel like that's gonna be kind of a free for all for Elon Musk to do whatever he wants, however he wants, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. I kind of don't think a billionaire needs to be telling us what we need to be spending our money on. It's like, did he really make all this money based on being such a smart business person? It's like, from what I understand, most of the businesses that are successful that he owns right now, they were all businesses that people were ideals that people already created, and he bought these businesses and expanded them. Like Tesla, he's not the original creator of the Tesla electric car. I mean, he bought that company. Yes, he grew it into what it is today, which I believe it is now the first $1 trillion company. I believe that was just announced a couple of days ago. But is he, maybe he is that great of a business person, but he made a comment the other day saying that everybody should have kids no matter their financial situation, that everybody should, don't let your financial situation keep you from having multiple children. Like, how disconnected is he from the actual reality if he thinks that the kids are not fucking expensive, that anyone can just afford, to have 5-6 kids? I mean, I wish that was the case, but it's just not.
yeah. So Hidden Gnosis, hello again. He's saying, I don't think that Elon is focused on cutting stuff like school lunches. I think the focus is on wasteful committees among the government that aren't benefiting progress and economics for America. I
I hope that's
think
true. I hope that is true, but
Yeah, I hope that shit's true because
so. Here's the
Yeah.
thing. I think that Elon Musk has been really successful in some of his endeavors and not so successful in other. And just kind of like Trump, right? Like, I mean, he's gone bankrupt how many times for his businesses, and people still
Yeah.
consider him
He's a
a
dog shit
great
businessman.
businessman, right? So you're like, okay, how is this person qualified to run an entire country's economy when they can barely run their own business? And we've all seen now the issues with Tesla, with SpaceX, with X, Twitter, whatever it's called. So can we really trust that Elon Musk is the right person for running this type of agency? if it was somebody who has really good experience and really good background and really good results, who was coming in and was somebody that's not biased to lick Trump's ass, then we could say, okay, maybe they are trying to do, good things for America. But I don't know. I don't see that.
But
Plus,
I think it should be a
plus like
committee though.
sorry.
No, go ahead, Rogue Show. Go ahead.
And plus, like, uh, I don't really believe. I don't really believe it's like they're focusing on wasteful committees among the government. Uh, because Oklahoma school systems are fucking terrible. They're fucking terrible. They're run by Republicans, and they're
They're
and
some of the worst in the country. Yeah.
yeah, their school lunches are uh the kids are just like not doing great there as far as the lunch goes.
And I mean, for it to even be in these policy suggestions that Project 2025 is making, that means that it's in their radar, right? Like school lunches are, they see it as a big waste. So okay,
Jared says that your audio, AJ, is I do hear an echo
that's
now.
what I was saying. I thought it was. Let me see. Hold on. Because when I mute Roadshow, like right now, when I mute him, I don't hear it anymore. I thought it was just me hearing it, but then I unmute him, and now I hear it again.
Yeah,
I
I
know
think
it's
we are.
coming
I
from
think we're
there.
picking up the feedback now, Rogue Show, from
Okay,
you
how about
not
this?
having your headphones on.
Because when Roadshow is talking, I don't hear it. So maybe when you're not talking, you just click the mute button. Let's see if that helps.
Okay,
Okay, yeah, I think that's better. So we'll just kind of like try to take turns talking. Like if I hear you unmute yourself, then I'll let you talk. All right. Yeah, because thank you, Ancher. Because I sometimes when I've been on other shows,
thank you.
yeah, when I've been on other shows, I keep hearing noises, and people are like, "Well, I don't hear that," so I'm always like, "Oh, it must be just me." So yeah, but yeah, that's way better. Thank you so much for letting us know. I was actually asking Joe and Roche in our private chat if they could hear it, but they couldn't hear it. So yeah, that's why I assumed it was just me. Okay.
All right, let's see.
Okay, you want to
So
read it?
yeah, so can we agree that most school systems ran by Democrats or Republicans are terribly ran and need reform?
No,
Like, what kind of reform are we talking about? And like,
no.
can you tell us what type of reform you believe needs to be made?
That's a good question. Yeah, I would like it.
Hey, it's Titan Uranus. I always enjoy saying that name.
Welcome
Hello, I've
back.
been listening while I spread love and joy on Discord. Yeah, welcome back. Yeah, it's good to see we actually have.
Thanks for tightening my anus. It's really gaping right.
The first time I said the name, I didn't even pay attention to it, and they laughed. They made me say it.
So I kept thinking that's the sound sounded like wind. Maybe that's what it is. You're
All right, so
um,
yeah, I'd like to know exactly what Hidden's talking about. Like, what things could we do to to reform public
yeah. I
schools
would
in
say that
general?
when I've looked through some of the worst schools, this not necessarily like districts, but like overall the worst states to have your kid in school, they were mostly red states. I don't know if there was like a correlation there. I didn't look further into it, but yeah, just putting that out there.
I mean,
I
if
would
we're talking
definitely have
about
to look more. Yeah,
They
if
already
we're
don't know how to
talking,
fucking run schools, so
yeah,
I can hardly imagine that both of them suck.
yeah, yeah.
I would say that either party could probably be horrible about anything, and either party could be good about something. So I mean, it's all about bipartisan, working together, for our children's future education. Like, our public schools perfect? Probably not. Do they have wasteful spending? Yes, because any type of government agencies, there's going to be um, things that are spent. Our money's being spent on things that are probably not
Okay,
sufficient. Go ahead, AJ. Sorry.
were you gonna say something, Rosho?
Oh, the reason, yeah, the reason why kids have free lunches and they're able to go to the school in the first place and get an education is because it's publicly funded. It is
Yeah,
funded by property.
yeah,
Public schools are funded by property tax to run.
exactly.
So I disagree.
So Hidden
Yeah,
Sen, I believe that there's a focus on pushing kids through instead of promoting excellence. My mom is a high school teacher, and I hear from her most about how the stat that administrators look at is. So no, I think they're talking about, like, here in Texas, a lot of the schools, they have a focus on what they call the STAR test, which is like
mm,
the state exam to basically grade schools to see where their students are at. And yeah, they do push a lot of focus on that. So I can agree that I think that if you're talking about reform, that would be a place to look at, because I do agree that you do have schools pushing an agenda, just getting kids to learn repetitive things that they know are going to be in the test versus things that could be educational for their future. It could be structured different in terms of the learning structure,
Yeah,
which is something
yeah,
we've learned here in homeschool while we've been homeschooling our kids.
yeah. Like we're getting out. Yeah, I will agree. Like we're getting out class as far as like um as far as like our learning, what we learned. Like no one's gonna no one's gonna remember Pythagorean theorem unless you're doing
right.
engineering or something.
Yeah, so maybe we
And
should go ahead, Rogue Show. I'm sorry.
yeah, there are more useful options like essay. I know like in the Scandi countries, um, they do a lot of essay. They do a lot of essay writing,
Yeah.
and
My
we use
parents
that
live
skill.
in Switzerland, and so my my dad has always told me that when they go to high school, even when they're still right before high school, they get to start choosing what sort of career what sort of path uh, career they're going to go to. And then once they get to high school, they get to choose a very focused career, and throughout high school they do that. And it can be like medical, it can be like something that you do with your hands, I don't know, like
A trade, yeah,
yeah, like a
like a trade
trade
skill,
trade
yeah.
trade trade sort of career, yeah, like trade school. But they teach you that all the 4 years that you're in high school, and it's not like at the level that you will study it in college, but you have that much broader foundation when you go into college, because you already have that experience from out the 4 high school years. And for the majority of kids, they don't even need to go to college, because that is enough for them to go into a job right after high school. And they have so much experience that it's really useful. It's a lot more uh, like I feel like the money is put to much better use than what we do here. We're trying to teach all the kids the exact same thing and being like, well, now you figure it out once you're like what, 19, 20.
Yeah,
And it's
that is
like,
true.
yeah,
You've made me realize that, as I was saying earlier, since we've been homeschooling our child, um, that yes, the current system is set up like you just mentioned. It's a one type teaching. What's the word I'm looking for?
well,
Layout basically for
it
every
was made
student.
that way. It was made that way because during the Industrial Revolution, that's when they started building sort of the school system. And some of the very rich people that that had a lot of money to put into like their factories, they wanted factory workers. And where could they get factory workers? They started teaching them from early on. So they will teach all the kids like how to follow instructions, and sort of like what instructions to follow, and like all the basics that they needed in order to do all these factory jobs. And that's what they did. Once they came out of high school, they had factory workers that knew how to follow instructions. They did not know how to think for themselves. They knew how to be told what to think and what to do. And that's what schools pull out now. They pull out teenagers that know what to be told, like what to do based on what they're told, not how to think.
Yeah, I think the guy who invented uh the public school system
Yeah,
was like
I'm trying to think of his name. Rockefeller.
like
Rockefeller, right?
yeah, he was talking about like how you learn uh you learn stuff to work or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you
He
just
had some. I remember reading
work
some
a
of
little
his
bit.
his quotes that were pretty crazy.
Just work a little bitch, be the cog in the machine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
So it looks like it was the guy's name was Horace Mann, which actually
Okay, yeah, but then
yeah,
look up Rockefeller. Rockefeller, the famous
yeah, this
tycoon.
from the steel
He's
industry.
so he's the one that brought, like, Horace Mann brought it to America basically, and Rockefeller was the one that will fund it. He will he basically funded like the
Okay, yeah, it
public
says
education system.
through his philanthropic efforts. So yeah, you're right. He funded it, the majority of it. Interesting. I learned something today. Did not
Yeah,
know that.
so basically that's one of the reasons why I'm so, like, the more I learn about the topic of homeschooling, or like how public school works, the more I'm like, and I really don't want my kid to go back to school, because it's like it's just such a focus on bringing out all the kids to be exactly the same, and they're not focusing on building up on these kids talents and on these kids interest and what they truly want, or will become one day. Like when we're homeschooling, like we've had our kid come up with so many different types of things that he enjoys. Like he fucking flew on a plane at 12 years old, okay, because he was so interested in planes that we took him to like all these uh, learning experiences. So
So yeah, I can think I think the I think the main reason like you mainly go to public school is more so the social fact, more so the social factor.
yeah,
Or yeah, it could be so much better. Like you get something useful out of it, and you get better social factor. But it's mainly because of the social factor, and there are though you, though you're kind of trained to uh, be the same in public schools. You there are still diverse. You're still uh you're still in the thing with you're still in the gauntlet uh with several other diverse people like
yeah,
or students,
Yeah, no, I agree with that, Rocho. I mean,
unless you're
that's
in the
one
red
of the
state, then you're mostly white.
that's one of the main things that I feel our child misses out on, since he's being homeschooled, is that connection and learning how to interact with people. And I know that AJ was just talking about how the school system was created, um, for to give students structure so they'd be able to understand
follow
how to take in, yeah,
instructions.
how to
Yeah,
follow instructions, which I can see how that can be misused if it's set up. It was, for what she's saying, it was set up so these students know how to follow structure or instructions, so they could go straight into factories. But I think the public school system, or a school system setting in general, it is good for people. It is good at teaching um, some structure, which is needed. Like learning how to meet deadlines, or learning how to be on time, how to manage time,
or
learn how to work in group settings.
But you can have structure and discipline without being like this authoritarian sort of system that the school system has become.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But I
Yeah.
think those things are still necessities that youth
Yeah.
need to learn, because living in a society, you have to be able to communicate with people. You have to be able to work in a
Yeah, like
group setting.
timelines and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, in general, the school structured system. I mean, having kids that are not interested in certain subjects, or that wouldn't benefit them for whatever career that they want to do when they graduate. I mean, it's kind of just wasting their time. It should be more structured. They should be able to tell. By high school, kids have been in school for so long that in high school, I agree, it would be a good setting to in high school for those 4 years where you start focusing on maybe two different scenarios, or two different main subjects that you think that you might want to move forward with after high school, instead of still being very very bland and learning so many different things. It should be more focused in those last 4 years, because not everybody is going to want to go to college, and not everybody's going to want to do something that's that's a field that requires you to be smart. Some people like labor. We still need people to be able to build things. We still need people, manual labor. I mean, those are jobs that we need people that know trades. We need plumbers, we need electricians. um,
Yeah,
those are.
those are things that like I said, the system they have in Switzerland, there are things that kids can have a focus while they're in high school in the public school, and so they don't have to put so much work into having to go to college, because some people just can't afford to do that the way that
Yeah, that
public
is true.
college is set up right now. But if we actually gave kids like this opportunity to have a more focused learning experience in high school, then they will be more prepared for their early adulthood when they come out of high school, because I feel like they're just not being prepared. They're not ready for their life, for the adult life, quite out of high school yet.
Hold on, is my audio any good?
That sounds much better, Rogue Show. I don't hear
Yeah,
the echo anymore.
for now it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I removed my mic.
Okay.
Fucking
Yeah,
So
that's
like
definitely better.
the microphone and the
The
headphones were
all
both
my
screwing us
abilities.
up.
The
So
culprits, they were just trying to,
just back to basics.
yeah, back to
They're
basics.
liberal spies, and I will not tolerate this.
They were in you.
I like that. All right, so are we gonna get into some videos today? I mean, we've kind of ran it for an hour, but I think we had some good
Yeah.
events right there. But I
Well,
know
the
you had
cabinet.
some
Are there
So
other
videos
let's
you
cabinet?
wanted to show to us. Yeah, the cabinet picks. Can we get to that?
You
yeah,
said
let's
RFK
quickly.
was. Sorry,
No, go ahead. What were you saying? What were you
you
saying?
said RFK. You said RFK was like the National Department of Health earlier,
Oh
Joey.
gosh. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, Trump has appointed him to the. Let me pull up my information here. But if anybody follows RFK Jr., he's full of conspiracy theories. I mean, when he was running third party, if you followed him, I mean, he has COVID-19 conspiracies, vaccine misinformation. He would spew. He's big on fluoride opposition.
Oh
Basically,
yeah.
he said that he's opposed to putting fluoride in the drinking water. Despite there's like so much evidence that shows that it's safe and effective, and it's but he has a huge conspiracy that all the fluoride that we put in the water is basically
Right.
yeah, Dr. QAnon, yes, exactly. um, just
This
just
is
crazy stuff. 5G technology, he was huge on that conspiracy. That 5G is basically they're using it to manipulate our brains and send thoughts into our mind control with 5G. um,
5G are trying to make us a communist party.
Exactly. He's gonna make us a bunch of commies. So
So
yeah, I mean, they're putting him in
Franken,
charge.
yeah. Oh, I was gonna say Frankenstein is a fellow Argentinian living in America.
Welcome. Thanks for checking in with us.
Nice.
Oh, and hey, I see we got Chromatic Crystals with us, hanging
Yes,
out with us.
we got the whole
Hey,
crew.
pragmatic.
So yeah, I mean he's a horrible choice. It's like everybody he's choosing, he's picking them because he knows they're going to destroy whatever agency they're being set up with, like
They're gonna write this. Or
Matt
he picked them.
Gates.
Sorry.
No,
Yeah,
say again,
no,
I think
Roscoe.
I think it mainly picks. I think it mainly picks them because they read his dick.
yeah,
Well,
you know that too,
I mean,
definitely. They're
he's
like,
already, so everybody who voted for Trump, who believed the bullshit where he said that he's not connected to anything with Project 2025. I mean, one of the main goals and focuses of the first 180 days of Project 2025 is basically to get rid of any people that are not loyalists, to this new type of government that they want to implement. So I mean, they're going to get rid of anyone in a position uh, that's not going to be on board with this push that they're about to try to do in these 180 days. So they're basically
that's it.
cleansing, and they're setting up exactly what they need, to make this go into play.
Yeah, because he wants people that have been so extremely loyal that they put up with anything that he's done so far, and the ones that are still behind him, those are the ones that he's gonna pick because he knows that they're not gonna want to go against him and they're not gonna want to let him down, and they're gonna be yes people.
Yeah. I mean, he even said it specifically that he learned a lot from his first term. When he initially, during his first presidency, his cabinet picks, he was so frustrated because he thought that anyone that he put in position was just going to smoothly go along with his agenda, and he got pushback from a lot of his cabinet picks,
Yeah,
and that's when he would start talking shit about them and start calling them idiots, and using all
yeah,
these derogatory terms against them. And he's going to make sure this time that anybody he puts in a power position, that he's not going to get pushback from them. And he blatantly said that, that's his agenda.
yeah, for sure. And he's also choosing people that have a specific agenda themselves. Speaking of that, like Matt Gates, right? The Republican from Florida, and
Yeah, but
he was picked for attorney general to manage the Justice Department, which is the very department that was handling his investigation, where he was accused of trafficking a minor, sex trafficking a
you're
minor.
talking about Matt Gates. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
Matt
mean,
Gates. Yeah,
yeah.
Matt Gates.
Matt
So
Gates wanted Trump to give him a pardon, that never happened before Trump's term was over. But Matt Gates is so caught up in the MAGNA bullshit that he's one of the biggest ass lickers. He's within that group of these congressmen and congresswomen that are just like ready to do whatever Trump tells them to do. And putting Matt Gates in that position of power, the top appointee of our judicial system and our
like,
law and order, is just insane. I mean, that's just like, there's so many different conflicts of him, and it's sad that he's going to be pushed through and appointed because they have control of the House and the Senate. So like we can't do anything about any of these people that he's about to put into power.
oh yeah, so they're talking in the chat about, then there's Tulsi Gabbard, and that's the next name that I was gonna bring up. She's the former representative for Hawaii, who she's also a former Democrat, and then she turned independent, and then she turned MAGA supporter. I don't think she's registered as a Republican, but she's a huge supporter of Trump, and she was appointed as, well, picked picked for the position of director of national intelligence. And as somebody else said on here, isn't she a Russian operative? And I don't know exactly, but she's very much against the Ukraine. Even Mitt Romney has condemned her for sharing false information, claiming that the US was involved with an Ukrainian biological weapon laboratory. And so Russia loves her because of all those comments. And I think the feeling is kind of mutual. Some of her interviews on Fox News after the Ukrainian conflict started were aired in Russian networks, and we all know how hard that is, right? Like for anybody's uh, news to speeches to be aired in Russia, they that should tell you how much they love her and respect her or whatever, which is not a good thing to brag about, But yeah, so given her spread of misinformation and lies to benefit Russia, I don't think that she's a very good pick for the department
Did
that's
someone,
focused on
did someone say
intelligence.
they're excited? Did someone say they're excited that Tulsi Gabbard um was was their pick? Like I saw that in the chat. I think
In
is
the
Uh,
that a joke?
chat, let me see.
Let me
Uh,
see.
It was hidden notice or something.
Oh,
oh
this
yeah, there we
one.
go. Oops. Sorry, I think we double clicked it. I'll put it back.
Oh, that Putin is more excited. He said exceptionally average.
No, hidden notice that I'm excited for Trump's appointment of Tulsi Gabbard. How do y'all feel about her? I think Hidden told us last time that they are a
Oh,
Republican, and we've had civil discussions with them, and we appreciate them being in here. So it looks like that they're actually asking for our opinion, though. So I mean, they're not
Yeah,
completely like
well, I would say that was
blinded
my
by it.
opinion that I just gave.
Yeah.
I mean I haven't heard of Tulsi Gabbard. I haven't heard of Tulsi Gabbard. Like that's the only cabinet pick I haven't heard of. So I don't have I don't have much to say.
So it says Tulsi's against all these war hawks in our government. Um, I mean, that's interesting.
Supporting
I
you.
mean, I do know that Tulsi is against the Ukrainian war.
But she seems pro Russia rather than anti-war.
Yeah,
She's
I need to
she's
look in to see what
anti-Ukraine.
type of connections that she has to Russia. I need to look into her a little bit more. I have to say that
Mm.
I don't know much about her, so I can't really say much about how I feel about that appointment.
Yeah,
I
for
will definitely
me,
look into it.
yeah, personally, the feeling that I got from what I've heard about her is that she's very pro Russia. Given that they aired her interviews and all of that, like I'm not surprised that she's against the
And
Ukraine.
Russia are the war hawks. They they are being the aggressors.
And one one interesting thing about her that I heard was that she is very big on those deep state claims, like talking about the deep state and conspiracies, and
Yeah.
that basically she thinks that Hillary Clinton is running everything. So
Right. I was just
yeah,
reading about
he
that. So yeah,
told
she
me.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not very confident about this appointment.
It says that Gabbard was accused of promoting narratives that align with Russian propaganda. However, Gabbard has
Yeah.
consistently denied these allegations, asserting that her positions are based on a non-interventionist foreign policy perspective rather than any allegiance to foreign powers. I
Uh,
mean,
yeah, exceptionally average says to Hidden Noses that Gabbard isn't against war hawks, that she is against supporting Ukraine, and that's also the sentiment that I got from what I read about her. So
so I
Yeah.
mean, if you're against supporting Ukraine, then that means you're supporting Russia, because I
pretty
mean,
much,
that means you
Yeah.
support Putin taking over territory, that doesn't belong to him. And if you're okay with that, then that
Yeah.
gives free run
I
over.
cannot stress enough that Russia are the aggressors in this conflict. Like they are trying to take over. They are trying to take over Ukraine. By obviously by force, and Ukraine is fighting back.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And they
clearly.
have the right to defend themselves. And I think even though they're not part of I think of the UN. I mean, we have to protect countries around them, such as Poland. You know, because if he takes over, if we let Russia take Ukraine, then what's going to stop him from going into Poland next? You know,
Right, right.
or continue taking territory. If he sees that we're okay with that, that's a huge problem. Huge problem.
Pragmatic Crystal brings up a good point. They say, will Tulsi Gabbard bring a pro-Russian bias to intelligence reporting? That's a really good question, and I think that potentially, yeah, yeah,
I mean, it
and
lines up because Tulsi. It lines up because uh, not only is Tulsi, of course, has allegations with Russia. Trump, we know he loves to hang out with Putin all the damn all the damn time.
I
And
mean,
oh yeah,
they can say that if you actually read the reports that came out, after everything that was investigated after his first presidency, his campaign, there was so much shit tied to Russia, and he gets
oh,
so much money flowing from these Russian mobsters. His sons have even both publicly stated, that they get a lot of their funding from Russia money. And I mean, there's pictures of them. I mean, there's just so much shit. But they think that Americans are, well, they don't think, they know that Americans are such short term. I mean, are uh, whenever stuff like that comes out, that we're so easily manipulated to, like, we'll think about it, and then it's like we don't even worry about that anymore. It's like, but those are like huge allegations, and they brushed all that under the under
rug
the rug, basically,
under the rug,
but
yeah.
it's out there for people to actually to research and read these reports, but people
yeah,
don't do it. People don't. But
and
the information is there.
I can't help I can't help myself with hidden right now. Um, so anti, so you're saying, or so hidden gnosis said like, uh, Gabber's like anti involvement in shit, and he
Yeah,
didn't
I
see how
saw that. Uh, yeah,
he
that
didn't see how that.
basically she will try to not get the U.S. involved in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which I think is in itself is problematic because as part of NATO and as the Ukraine becoming part of NATO, then we are meant to be their allies and we are meant to protect other members of NATO. So,
Yeah, I said United Nations earlier. I meant to say NATO earlier. I don't know why I couldn't
oh
think
yeah,
of the
yeah.
terminology. Now that I hear you say it, I'm like, yeah, I misspoke.
Yeah, so I mean, there goes another terrible pick, and I saved the last one, the best one, the best worst one for last. Okay,
And
Pete
even like
Hegseth.
one more.
Yeah, go ahead,
I'm very
Rocco.
sorry.
No, go for it.
One more thing to say like about the comment is
Yeah,
like
sure.
not even like you can like I can just probably grant you that anti okay she's doing anti involvement, but that wouldn't be why she's pro Russian. Once again, like she has allegations on. Once again, you mentioned that she has the allegations on her, and she's with Trump, and ob- obviously by default,
Putin supported, yeah, sure, by default.
yeah, a Putin supporter.
Um,
So there is
so
obvious Russian bias.
yeah, yeah, that's what pragmatic crystals say as well. And then Titan Uranus says Trump receives reports in large type 2 pages max, includes pictures. His intelligence reports
Yeah,
with the big font.
I could see
Yeah, that's
that.
funny. Anyway, so I was saying that I saved the best worst pick for last, which is Pete Hegseth. Okay, he's a Fox News personality that was chosen for defense secretary. Now, while he may be a decorated army veteran, which I respect, like this does not give someone the experience and the background necessary to run the defense department of an entire country. Okay, and he is a huge Christian nationalist, and he has
Very,
that.
very big.
Yeah, do you have
Are we gonna
anything to say about him
we're
before
gonna go
I
with the
show you
Crusades
guys
again?
some?
No, what did you say, Rogue Show?
Are we gonna go with the Crusades again?
Right.
Oh yeah, we
Crusades
are
of the
about
God.
to.
We're
We're
trying.
about to.
We're gonna call them the
Okay.
Trump Crusades, though, right? It's gonna
Yeah.
be.
So that's funny that you
2025
mentioned that,
Crusades.
because this guy, Pete Hegseth, he he's got Christian nationalism written all over him, literally. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys a photo of him. Um, firstly,
Oh, I know him well
let me
from Fox and
see.
Friends morning show. I mean, it's one of the scarier picks. I don't know if it's scarier than
Okay,
Robert
this is
Kennedy
the
Jr.
guy,
though.
right? So take a
Looks
good look
kind of
at
It
him.
might,
handsome.
it might be.
He said he said that his first tattoo was of a cross with a blade to represent the Bible verse Matthew 10:34, which is kind of like a cherry pick Jesus as a warrior verse that's very popular with Christian nationalists. And it says, the verse says, "I did not come to bring peace, but a sword." So that's one of his main tattoos. And as you can see, he has the across the
And about
arm that says "We the
yeah,
People," and then you
and
can see
about
up here. I think it's a flag with the with a gun, right? Am I
yeah,
saying
it's
that
Yeah.
a
right?
M4 with a grip, like a foregrip.
Yeah, right, right.
And
So
like about that Matthew 10 verse, uh, there's like, but I thought he was meek and humble, or I thought he was
I don't know, man. He didn't want to. He did not bring peace. That's what he. That's what it says.
like Luke,
So
or like I think
so
uh, in the book of John, he's like this, he's like this meek and humble guy, and the guy who said, "Why have you, oh dear God, why have you forsaken me?" Or no, yeah, I think that.
I'm not
yeah.
familiar with either of those verses, but
I'm not familiar with the exact verses, but I
I'm just not
but
a Bible person.
there's like four different versions. There's four different versions of
Well, there's probably
Jesus.
400 different ones because there's 400 English translations. So
Well, at least in the Bible. Well, yeah, at least in the Bible.
yeah, I
At least
mean
in the Bible at
it
large.
says something like that. But
Yeah,
anyway, so another one of his tattoos is he has on his chest, which is the Jerusalem cross, and apparently it's a symbol of the Crusaders' holy war against Muslims and Jews. So that's very, very Christian-like.
So he's for sure going to be
And
using
then
his
the last one,
Christian
hold on,
views
I'm gonna,
towards a lot of the decisions he makes, like controlling, putting him in charge
yeah.
of the defense.
So here's the worst
Oh
one,
wow.
okay? On his arm, it says "Deus vult," and it's a Latin phrase that means God wills it. And it's like this type of phrase that is associated with the first crusades in the years 1000, uh, and it's also associated with what they call divine providence, which means that basically God controls the whole universe. So it's a very like deeply Christian nationalist uh,
yeah, yeah.
meaning that it has. Yeah, but
Someone said like
um
Frankenstein said like he's a Templar wannabe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's he's trying to his main goal. His main goal in life is to max out his paladin in D&D. So I can imagine.
oh yeah, the Knights Templars. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about. Yeah.
exceptionally average said, except was chosen because he's bigoted, misogynist, piece of shit, and there are credible sexual misconduct charges against him. Yeah, I mean those are exactly the type of people that Trump loves, though. I mean, if you think
I
about it.
mean,
Yeah.
and
Like
Trump made out with Epstein for Christ's sake. No, he
probably.
didn't really do that, but
I wouldn't doubt it, man.
So Michael Bell says we need to quit calling them Christian nationalists and use their real title as Nazis.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like these phrases that he's got tattooed on himself, they're used by far right, like very far right, pretty much neo Nazis and extremist hate groups. So they
I mean,
they they use that for violence and fear. So yeah.
Trump has shown his Nazi ways. I mean, if you, I mean, for one, or his first fuck up, or his first like thing, his first fuck up was the obvious. There are good people on both sides. Quote.
Yeah.
Uh, Second, Mark Robinson. I don't. I think representative or Senate guy from Florida. He was spewing a bunch of neo-Nazi dog shit, and Trump like yeah, I guess he likes him, and plus there's like a Nazi. There's a there's a Trump supporter with a Nazi flag on the ship.
Mm. Yeah, I mean that just goes beyond.
I'll try to find those.
Yeah,
Right
that's
beyond
interesting. I,
just
away.
I never knew any
differences.
of that.
Okay, yeah, see if you can find that. I mean, to me, like this whole uh like there's so many Trump supporters that you can see are just people that are not well informed, but then you see so many others that are almost in a cult. And Trump has exactly the qualities that somebody who is a cult leader needs to have. Okay, like he has the narcissist personality. He's the authoritarian. He demands loyalty or else hire you and fire you type of thing. He's manipulative, and he knows exactly how to manipulate people into doing what he wants, into hearing what he wants them to hear. And he's delusional. All right, he's just delusional, and he uses all of that to brainwash his his following base. um, Brainwashing is actually considered to be a real um, like a psychiatric issue, like something that can actually happen to people, and it's considered to be part of the what they call the dissociative disorders, like where people dissociate from their own personalities in psychology. So it's labeled as part of those disorders in the manuals that they use for diagnosis. And it can be diagnosed based on whether somebody's has been manipulated or coerced and convinced of believing certain things that they didn't believe before. And this person can still have their own basic beliefs, but they are brainwashed into believing what this other person is manipulating them into believing,
I,
kind of like an
I will.
indoctrination process that
Yeah,
goes on with religion.
I will say it's not. I will say it's like. Are he? I will say like as because I like psychology. Um, I don't. I don't think it's. I don't think it's mainly. I don't think it's like mainly because of uh Trump's narcissism, because like all narcissism entail.
Oh no,
Or
not of Trump. I meant
yeah,
like the people that follow him are the ones that are brainwashed, not Trump. Trump is the leader, the cult leader.
no, I was
He's the
talking about
one
yeah, I was
doing the
talking about cult leaders.
brainwashing. Okay.
I was talking about cult leaders. Cult leaders. They don't necessarily have to be narcissistic.
Mm.
I mean,
Gotcha.
because it's not the mental illness. Because I I love this quote from someone. It's not the mental illness that makes them a bad person. It's their choices. Uh, and Trump has consistently chose to feed his own ego and manipulate others.
Yeah, I'm really big also in following psychology and like sort of like the way the brain works, and from what I've learned, and I'm not a professional. I'm gonna warn everybody about that. I don't have a degree in psychology or neurobiology, but from what I've learned, people who become narcissists are obviously not born that way, right? But the way that the brain becomes wired even before we become able to set long-term memories, like before age 5, is when on the basis of our brain wiring uh, sets. Okay, and so as you go through your life after that becomes wired, is how you're going to respond. It's going to be based on that wiring. And if somebody's brain was wired with a lot of trauma, they're going to respond in very negative ways, even during their childhood. And that's what's going to eventually turn them into whatever they become. This being said, that people who are true psychopaths have smaller parts of their brain that deal with things like disgust or with feeling remorse. So they're not
Yeah,
able to feel that. Like their brain is physically not able to feel that. And that's how
it's mainly
somebody
their
shows, yeah,
it's mainly their insular. For one, it's like mainly their insular cortex. It's also their frontal.
that's right.
It's also most of their frontal lobe that
Yeah.
that's like turned off.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
where.
yeah,
Yeah,
again,
so
but again,
I,
it's not about. It's not the mental illness that makes. Not the mental illness that makes someone a bad person. It's a. It's their. It's their choices. Like there are
yeah,
probably plenty of psychopaths that are good. That are good people and
yeah,
just can't
because
help
people can actually change that. You can, the
Yeah,
brain is very neuroplastic. Like you can
go
change
to
your brain
therapist.
wiring, and so if you choose not to do anything, if you know that you have an issue, or that your choices are harming others, and you do nothing about it, then yeah, it definitely becomes a choice.
So Hidden Notes who says, doesn't narcissism exist on a spectrum? Most leaders need a bit of narcissistic tendencies to do the job they're required to do. What do y'all think about that?
A lot of narcissistic tendencies to do the job that they're required to do. Okay, sorry, I was reading the question. Um, I would say, yeah. Sorry, I keep muting you, Rocher. I think the buzzing came back, so I'll quickly mute you when I'm talking, so it doesn't sound super loud. Um, I would say that, do they need that? I would say for a cult leader, perhaps yes, but not for a leader of a country. Like you're talking about leading an entire country, not leading a cult. So I don't think that you need somebody to be a narcissist in order to be able to be a leader necessarily.
Pragmatic Crystal says, uh, malignant malignant narcissism is a psychological syndrome compromising a mix of narcissism, antisocial behavior, sadism, and paranoid outlook on life.
Yeah, it's a whole complex.
Yeah.
It's very very uh like we could do a whole show about this. I know that
Yeah,
we kind of
dig your
did a
noses
show
into
about
psychology textbooks,
yeah,
fellas.
yeah, exactly.
Um,
Um,
I will like say um I'm not sure. As far as narcissism goes, I'm not sure. Uh, I'm not sure if narcissism is it like a spectrum and stuff. Um, so so the sorry narciss. I'm not sure what and I'm not like entirely sure not what the narcissistic tendencies are per se. I'd have to like read the symptoms for the DSM-5 that is put on narcissism to like answer that question thoroughly.
Yeah, for sure. I would say I'm more familiar with like the physical brain aspect rather than the diagnostic criteria. So I will definitely have to look more into that. And I did do some research on, um, like I said, on psychopathic behaviors and all of that, which I'm pretty sure is similar to narcissistic. Uh, But anyway, so let's talk about all of this. Speaking of cult leaders and cult followers, I had some videos set for us to watch about Trump supporters. Okay, and it's going to be in the same topic of what we were talking about, because I guess you'll see in a second what I'm
How
talking
scared
about.
should I be? What are we about to watch?
Okay, so we're gonna put these ones
How
first.
scared should I be? Oh, okay.
This is the one we started watching earlier. All right, so let
Let
me
me
know
let me
if the
down my
sound.
IQ level down a little bit.
Yeah, it's quite shocking.
Tape of
All
him
right.
with classified
Let me
documents,
just
sharing
my
them with
brain on my
people who
skull.
weren't didn't have that security clearance. Does any of that bother you?
No, I think they've been after him so long that all of this is just a witch hunt, like he described it. I don't think there's anything Trump's done wrong. I think that the desperate opposition is just after him. I mean, they started out, and they've been after him 8 different ways, and they're going to keep after him until they can get him in jail, I think.
They went after Richard Nixon. They went after Bill Clinton. And now the courts in several different states are finding different things about Trump. Is there anything that could happen with him indictment-wise that would say, all right, maybe this disqualifies him for president?
Not for me. I'm with him to the finish.
All right. Thank you so much.
He could stand on the front steps
the
of the
pedo
White
to
House
finish.
and commit murder, and I'm with him.
Explain that to me. That's amazing. I mean,
Look, he's the only man we've ever had in my lifetime that stood for America as president. Now, I was a George Herbert Walker Bush man and all that, but they don't anybody compare to Donald Trump. He loves this country, and that's why I love him.
But I'm going to push back a little bit because, and you're, I'm guessing, a couple of months older than me, but I'm going to say that, looking back at some presidents like Eisenhower, like LB.
Okay, let's comment on that real quick, okay? Because the fact that he says that Trump could stand on the steps of the White House and murder someone, and he will still support him, and then there's this like, well, but why? Well, because he loves America. What? Okay.
Yeah, I mean it makes no fucking sense, and it's just scary to think that somebody would
he loves
even have that logic.
He loves America, except all the times he trying to infringe on free speech. He's a Christian nationalist, which we are a secular, which also violates the First Amendment of the Constitution. But yeah, just ignore those. Oh yeah, he's also against. Oh yeah, remember the 13th Amendment, the Insurrection Act? He no more of that shit. No more of that shit. He'll insurrect all he wants, and the 4-year term. The 4-year term thing, in the Constitution. Yeah, he wants to get rid of that, and
yeah,
he wants to become king. So just ignore those parts of his. Just ignore those parts of his reign, and yeah, he supports America.
but
Yeah,
but
king or God.
these people, like this guy talking right here would support Trump taking away term limits. Like his followers would be completely okay with that. Like they would have no issue with that. But yet they say that they love America and they stand for for the Constitution, but that goes against like everything that we've ever put in place. I mean, that's gonna fucking get us a dictator. I mean, there's no reason to have any type of elections or anything of that sort, because it's gonna be fucking rigged from here on if that does
But
happen.
he did say that. I mean, he did told his supporters that in what was it, in July, he was speaking to a church, and he flat out
Yeah.
said, "If
It's
you
the
vote
last
for
time.
me, yeah, it's gonna be the last time you're gonna have to
Never have to
vote."
vote. Yeah, he did.
So,
He did say that. Uh,
Maya Atkinson says you can just say it, I'm in a cult, and it's actually come off better, and that's true. I mean, at least they will be honest if they admitted that they're in a cult.
At least not like at least when you're saying I'm with him. Yeah, because saying I'm with him through and through, um, that's a lot of baggage. That's a lot of baggage to it. Like you're okay, so you're with a convicted you're with a convicted felon, you're with a kid diddler, you're with you're with
right.
a
Right. What
failed
does it
ass
say?
businessman.
What is it saying for to our younger generation? It's like we're telling them that it's okay, to be a rapist. It's okay to be charged for for doing all these different crimes. Like,
Doing
I mean,
inside violence just
yeah,
because you
incite violence,
lose.
to being a bigot, to being just everything. It's just the values that
To
it portrays, like to our children, to think that's the person that we as Americans put at our highest position
that
over our land.
woman, yeah, that women and trans people's bodies belong to what, white men or the government.
It's just
It's,
sad. It's sad.
yeah,
It leaves me lost for words.
yeah. So let's move on to the next one. That was the next guy that's gonna be speaking.
The George Floyd thing, that was all set up too.
How was that set up?
That police officer
Set up.
didn't have his knee on the neck.
I'm sorry, I think I went too far. Hold on.
Look what he's done. He's
Okay.
hanging in there. He's for us. He loves this country, and I'm going to support him to the end. I hope he wins. We need him.
Real
The
quick,
George
can I
Floyd thing.
make a comment
That
about
was
that?
all
real
set
quick?
up too.
How was that set up?
That police officer
Oh, wait.
didn't have his knee on the neck.
Did you see the video?
No, I didn't see the video. Just like I think January 6th is rigged too.
Talk about January 6th in
Did you
terms
see
of
that
what
video?
what did you think it was? Tomorrow's the anniversary, 3 years. What do you
Sorry, what were you saying?
Well, no, I was just saying it's Trump supporters are so delusional. It's like
Yeah,
they'll
It was
believe
set up.
anything.
Did you watch the video?
setup thing?
No.
So did he see the January 6th video like live when people were
no.
destroying the Capitol? It's like he'll probably say no to that too. I'm curious whether he even has seen any of that footage. He'll say that it was AI footage or those were,
At least fall back on that. At least fall back on that. Like you can at least say, well, it's probably just AI. Probably just an AI video. You didn't have to say like, no, I didn't watch the video, but it's set up anyways. Apparently,
why should I watch it?
Yeah, he's just saying like
Propaganda.
he's basically saying I don't care what happened. Like I have my opinion regardless of what the reality is. Okay, let's keep watching the video, see what it says.
think about it?
I think it was set up by Democrats.
In what way? Because there's no, sort of purported evidence of that.
It was
I don't
Antifa
know.
causing
I
all the
think
violence at the
Republicans as a
Capitol.
whole more, just more calm and everything. It's like the riots in the streets when Trump was president. I mean, the riots were all Democratic cities.
let's go, Brandon.
I mean, and if you look at they haven't released the videos on January 6th. They did a little bit, and you watch them, and the guys just walking through. The police are helping them. It just don't look like a true.
Wait, pause. I want to make a comment on that.
It didn't
Yeah.
look like riots
Can you pause it, AJ?
when Trump was president, when they were burning cities. Now, if
I don't see
if they really
Roadshow wanted to make a comment on the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So I might have actually watched this video before, and
Oh, okay.
that's actually the reason why they let the reason why the police officers let them walk through. It's because it's protocol.
From what I understand, they knew it was already breached too. So if they tried to stop them at that point, they were
They don't-
putting themselves at risk because they were
Yeah, they're
like, it
gonna
was
put
like two
themselves
guards
at-
at that. It was like two guards that I've seen that video before as well.
Yeah,
where
two guards
one
versus
guard
a
moves in.
fucking
Yeah.
mob. Like, they don't want no smoke. They'll let the other police officers have smoke.
Yeah, I mean, if they tried to hold up that gate right there, I mean, they would have easily
Yeah, they
came
were
through
so
and pushed it over
outnumbered.
anyway. So it was
Yeah, out of the
pointless to try to
fucking-
protect
yeah.
those little gates that they were talking about. I mean, we
Once
saw
they
what they
went
did as they
inside
got
the
up
gates-
closer.
Once they went inside, once the January 6th riders went inside the gates, that's when all hell broke. That's when all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
And plus, like Trump said he, even though he said it was peace, go in there peacefully. He did rile them up. Like he said, your democracy, your America, is on the line, and get out there and fight.
Yeah, he doesn't think that his words he doesn't think his words have consequences, but they do. They do.
Well, but now he even thinks that even more though, because now he sees that he was able to do that and get away with pretty much all that, and nothing happened to him. And now the Supreme Court has basically ruled that anything that he does under president, as when you're under the authority of the president, you can't be held liable for pretty much fucking anything. You are pretty much a free you are pretty much a dictator. You can do pretty much anything. It's like it's kind of messed up. I don't know. It's like, is that really what the presidency should the president really have that much protection against fucking doing something illegal? Like, should it be that hard to fucking charge a sitting president for doing something illegal? Like, why is it so hard to get a criminal to fucking charge them for doing something and hold them accountable for like criminal actions?
It's been
It's
4
like the whole
years
impeachment
already.
process was just like fucked up too. It's like we tried to impeach him twice, but I mean that whole system is pretty much jacked as well. It's like it's not really. It makes it really fucking hard to like hold a president accountable for doing something against the holding the office presidency.
So Hidden said these are examples of Trump voters that are idiots. I don't think they represent most of his supporters.
Sorry, we keep pushing the button. Yeah, I would say we're not necessarily making fun of people. We're showing the cognitive dissonance that these people have, that these people are displaying publicly. Okay, these are voters, and these are votes that have been counted and that ultimately led to Trump being elected. And if you think about it, the majority of the voters are average Americans. And these are likely what we will consider average Americans. Okay. So it's not that we're making fun of people, it's just that we are trying to show you why Trump won. Okay, where the misinformation goes, like Trump George says right here, you don't get to say I didn't watch the video and then still have an opinion on the video. This is the type of thing that becomes a problem, that becomes a sharing of misinformation. He's saying he did not watch the video of Floyd, and yet he's still saying, well, no, the cop didn't have his knee on his neck, even though I didn't watch the video, even though I don't know whether he had his knee on his neck or not.
Well,
No,
where did he
you
get that
don't get to
information
say
from,
that.
though? He probably
Exactly.
he heard somebody else say that probably didn't watch the video, so he just took it for. He heard someone else complaining like, oh, that's all bullshit because the cop didn't even have his knee on Floyd's neck, and then he takes that as truth when the person that he heard saying it probably heard someone else say it that was like biased. Just so it's just like a continuous line of
Misinformation.
yeah, misinformation. Yeah, I wanted to show this real quick from Maya. Said they didn't rule that the president has absolute immunity. The ruling was that charges have to be expressly stated, so it's not ambiguous. So I need to look into that more, Maya. So I might be incorrect. I really thought that there was something that was recently said where, well, I know that a sitting president, even before some of these rulings, is still said to not be able to be charged with criminal actions when they're the sitting president.
Okay.
Just like a lot of these cases against him right now, Trump knew that if he became president, that all of these criminal cases are going to go on hold because, again, the sitting president can't be criminally charged. I believe it's for like state charges. I believe, I don't know, maybe federal it might be different, but I think still under federal. With the recent ruling that you're talking about there, I believe, or referring to, which is the document case out of Florida, where he had all these documents that were classified. That's a federal case, but still, it looks like it's going to be dropped because he's going to be able to fire the special counsel. I mean, he has that authority to do that. I mean, whether that's
It's
I
also
mean,
because he has this crony in the he has this crony in there. Like
that's probably why he appointed Matt Gaetz.
But yeah,
and
Matt
also
Gaetz Matt Gaetz will fire it will be okay with that and not investigate or
Yeah,
put
I
a
mean,
special counsel
Also,
to see if there was a conflict of interest doing that.
also like the thing I wanted to say about Gnosis's comment is I I actually will make fun. I actually will make fun of Trump supporters. Like even like I might not understand. Like sure they might have like her like you mentioned Joey that um they heard something from some other guy who heard something from some other guy, and that's what led to his him saying that. But maybe research, maybe don't take it at face value. Maybe don't take his shit at face value, like the shit people says. I mean, of course you can probably do that like with someone asking about their saying, "Hey, I have a pet dog," and you can probably take that at face value. Um, but don't just believe that this was a hoax without actually watching the video. And plus, um, if you guys probably watched that Tucker Carlson a rally with Tucker Carlson, um, the dude was literally talking about his daddy. The dude was literally talking about Trump being his daddy, and the Trump voters like the Trump supporters went ape shit. Like that was some nice profound words. Like that's I will make fun.
I bet.
So I will make fun of Trump supporter.
I don't know. I say the hardcore Trump supporters, those are the ones that I say it's okay to make fun of them. I mean, they're in a cult, even if they don't want to believe it or not. When you morally follow somebody and support them, even when they do things that are against like things that you find moral, but you just overlook them and say, oh, but I don't. A lot of supporters will say that they know that Trump's personality and some of the things he says and his just who he is, that they don't like that, but yet they'll still vote for him because they say he's a good business person, or they like his his view on small businesses, and it's just it's nonsense to overlook something that they'll overlook everything else just for one other thing that they think might be good for them. Maybe I'm not. I hope you follow that. I mean, I don't know if I'm stating it correctly or if I'm getting it out correctly.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that Trump's platform is big enough that you can find these type of supporters everywhere, within our own families, within our own friends. And so, yeah, what I understand what Hidden Gnosis is saying, okay? Like, but we we are talking about why Trump won and why Harris lost. And the reason I think that happened is not necessarily because I don't know, the electoral college, or uh, not having enough uh, funding for the Democratic campaign, or you know, uh, Harris not having whatever public speaking skills, or people not making enough campaign efforts, uh, Democratic supporters and all of that. Like, people keep blaming that, or those who voted third party. And I personally think that the reason that she lost is more the fact that Trump supporters are spreading hatred, and it just spreads like wildfire within his sphere. Okay, whether it's misinformation, lack of information, not good education, or flat out lies and fascist techniques. The fact that half of his supporters, I'm sorry, that half of the voters that voted chose to align with somebody like that. That's why I think that she lost, and that's what we are trying to highlight here. So no, we are not here to say, hey, Harris lost because there's a couple dumb voters on the Democratic side. No, we are here to say that she lost because people are spreading misinformation. They are being controlled by this cult mentality. That's the kind of people that we're showing right now.
But even there is that on both sides. You do have to say that there probably are, even on the Democratic side, when you look to a more extreme liberal aspect or personality, that there are people that tell crazy conspiracies, about, or believe crazy conspiracies about Republicans as well. But I think it is on
Okay,
on the side of Trump though followers. I think that there's a higher rate of that type of voter than
let
on
me
the
let
Democratic
me
side.
point out, okay, what we were just talking about, this guy talking about Floyd, and he said he did not watch the video, and he did not care what the reporter told him. Okay, but this did not happen, and the guy's like, well, whatever, I think what I think. Now, when you were talking about Trump's charges, and Maya came in the comments and she corrected you, what did you do? The first thing you said was, oh, I'm sorry, I am probably wrong, I'm gonna go look into it. You're not like, oh no, I think whatever I want to think and you're wrong. Like, that's the difference.
Yeah,
The
it's
difference
about
is
always
being open
understanding
minded.
that
Yeah.
you might not know the information that you believe might not actually be correct. That sometimes you do have to check things, and it is good to actually look into things before you believe them 100%. And if maybe you didn't have a chance to look at everything, but you've heard some things, and like I just did, I made a statement about something, and then someone corrects me, then I definitely want to go look into it more to get more information on it. And if voters were like that when they hear a politician or an official that's running for an office say something, they shouldn't take it for their word, and you shouldn't even take the opposing side's word either, because they're gonna lie as well. So it's up to you to look into it yourself, to make your own judgment based on information that you can find. And don't take everything word for word from what these politicians on either side are saying to us.
Yeah,
And
that definitely happens on both
what I have to,
sides.
yeah, what I have to say about like Trump's victory, the reason why I think he, the reason why I think he won is because, like, in the perspective of the average American voter, or the majority of the votes, um, no, for one, uh, they were probably tired of things costing. They're tired of things like staying the same. tired of things. They're tired of things costing more, and yeah, they were ill informed that COVID caused inflation, which, by the way, I think Biden did a good job trying to reduce. Um, people, average American voter blame the Democrats. The second reason I think is the amount of right wing media that average American voter was exposed to. Once again, it's it's ill informed, and yeah, they should have very much should have looked into the shit they watched like before, or did not taking it at face value. But that's what happened. They were exposed to right wing media like a bunch, and that was the first thing they hear, and they say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna vote. Oh yeah, I'm gonna vote for Trump." I think, and yeah, I just think there's not a lot of exposure of Trump's bullshit. There's not enough.
Yeah, one of the
There's not
things
enough.
that yeah, sorry, one of the things that we talked about earlier was Elon Musk, right, and X, whatever Twitter used to be, and it seems that Trump actually picked up a lot of younger white male voters who follow this type of social media, which is what you just mentioned, that they're exposed to this type of media. That Elon Musk, Andrew Tate, and Joe Rogan are spewing out there, and that cater to like the typical fragile white male ego type of audience. The ones that follow all this kind of America First message that Trump continues to send since his 2016 campaign, and it worked. It worked for his core base because these are people that listen to that type of messaging, and he doubled down on it because he knows that they don't care about the rest of the world, and the type of media that they're exposed to solidifies that message that America should come first. And the whole Christian nationalist base that he appeals to only cares about America and Jesus and, well, Israel, I guess. But they don't care about places like the Middle East, like they don't care about Ukraine, they don't care about South America, they don't care about any of that. And his lower class supporters are only concerned about their wallets and what people do with their genitals, apparently, like who goes to what bathroom. And then his higher class supporters are also, again, only interested in their wallets and into turning America into this Christian nation that they claim it has always been but never was. So I don't know. I think that's one of the biggest problems that we're facing with the media exposure that the average American voter has been given before the election. So
But
I
sorry, Rocha, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it was. I think Kamala. I think Kamala like ran a good campaign. Ran a good campaign though. Ran good campaign and stuff. Like she performed well in debates and interviews. Uh, she was good on addressing like problems with abortion. Problems with abortion. Uh, maybe the economy. Maybe the economy. Like she was good on touching. She and Walls were good on touching on that.
yeah.
And of course one of the ads were one of the campaign ads was like Trump cuts taxes for billionaires, which is or he cut taxes for the billionaires, which was true, and she's saying that she's going to cut taxes for middle class voters. Right? it was a good campaign, but yeah, it just wasn't enough. Like as you said, the young white male demographic that mostly makes up this country, a voter, at least the voters.
Well, I think
Yeah.
that he pushed big. I think a lot of the base that they also got votes from, though, were from people that are immigration was a huge point. I mean, they pushed and pushed that. I listened to AM radio here in Texas during the day just to hear what they're spewing on there, and for the whole year leading up to the election, the two major things that they pushed were immigration, how Kamala basically, was the border czar, and she left the border wide open. Like they pushed that agenda over and over. And the second was the economy situation and inflation. They really pushed on inflation big time as well. And I think if Kamala would have, I don't know why they were afraid to run on what Biden did. Like you had just stated earlier, Rogue Show, you were talking about how you felt that the Biden administration did a great job with the recovery of the economy after COVID. But again, Americans have such a short span of staying focused on things that have happened and remembering the past. I don't think that they realize. I mean, we just went through like 3 years of like lockdown. Like it was like crazy, 2 years for sure, where things like we've never experienced before on a global scale, with economies being shut down. Did they forget about the backlog of freight? The industries that I work in, I mean, we saw the cost of shipping containers. A container would normally be $3,000 to $4,000 to ship a container from Asia here to the U.S. And then during COVID and after COVID, it was almost $10,000 to $15,000 a container, and the backlog of unloading stuff at the ports was huge as well. And all of this, along with the checks that all these nations were writing to try to keep, their governments afloat while everything was shut down. I mean, inflation was insane, but they pushed and pushed and pushed to make it seem like it was just a thing that occurred here in the United States, and inflation was all due to Biden economics, basically. And these people believe that because, again, like we just discussed, people don't look into things. They hear it regurgitated on these political talk shows, and that's where they get their information from, and they believe it without looking into it.
Yeah, all right. So, Rosho is gonna be right back. I'm gonna put him off screen for a second, and we're gonna continue. We'll talk about the comments that we're seeing on there.
So Maya says these idiots blame Biden for shutting down the economy. They don't think. Yes.
Yeah.
They did, Maya.
So Maya said that nothing would have been enough. She's commenting on what Kamala Harris did or didn't do, or what people claim that she did or didn't say, or what messages she put out there or didn't put out there. And I completely agree that nothing would have been enough. But it's not because of what she said or didn't say. It's because she was a woman and because she was a Black woman. That's it. That's why it was never gonna be good enough.
Yeah, well, that I agree with that as well. I mean, that had a huge factor as well. You have all these white males that are never going to vote for a woman to begin with. So I mean, that's a huge following of Trump as well, which is scary that people are still focused on that as a main reason to vote for somebody over other political issues.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, for real. It's just
It's aggravating. It's sickening. I mean, to think that people that we have so many people with that mindset is disgusting.
All right, we have Rosho back. Sorry, guys.
So Maya says
quick.
It's not just white men. It's 10% of Black men and a lot of evangelical women. They don't think women can run the country and won't vote for them. Oh, I've heard that. Oh, women don't need to be in positions of power, especially as the president, because they act on their emotions. That's like I've heard
Oh yeah, the
a white
women are
old
too
no say that to
emotional.
me.
Yeah,
I will,
yeah,
I will
for
say
real.
that I will say that I actually kind of disagree. Agree that like, nothing wouldn't have been enough. Um, because exposure. Because I think exposure or just getting there first would have definitely helped. Saying or exposing people, exposing the target demographic, saying or hey, this is who we are. This is who we are. Uh, we, this is who we are. We'd like you to vote. If you don't like our policies, cool.
Yeah, for
Like
me the
exposure.
problem was that I mean Trump had what he's had 8 years of or 10 years of practice with campaigning, and Harris had like a few months. I don't think it's fair to say that she should have been at the top, level. Was she the best choice? Maybe she wasn't, but what other choices? Like, we didn't really have better choices. Hillary had already lost. If we had put Hillary again, that would not have worked for sure. Um, Obviously, we could, like, the Democrats couldn't agree on putting Bernie Sanders out there. Like, as far as other women, I'm not really sure what other woman would have been good enough. So that I think that's what we're kind of talking about, more like what Kamala could have done herself that would have been enough for these voters that voted for Trump just because she was a woman.
I think that Trump is so good about playing the victim that his support base, like Roadshow mentioned earlier, that he felt that we weren't putting enough exposure on a lot of these things that Trump does. But I kind of disagree with that. I think that at least the liberal news networks like MSNBC, CNN, kind of liberal, that they push they put this stuff out there, all this negative things that Trump says or things that he's for, and people are able to see that, all these criminal things that he's being charged for. But I think sometimes that it could be overexposure, and then Trump's he basically flips it and plays the victim, and then when he's using this theory that the government is after him, the black, what's the word, like the ghost government they call it, I think, that they have all these inside people that are anti-Trumpers that are attacking him, and then he gets all his followers to believe, all this media coverage, all these things they're saying are all just made up, conspiracies, and he's able to get them to
Uh,
not believe those things, basically. So he uses that to his advantage. He's a master at doing that.
yeah, so Maya said that Harris had Obama's level excite and more money than God. That would say, okay, yeah. But somehow, from lack of whatever, she got the same turnout as Hillary Clinton. I mean, we don't all have to agree here, you guys, but I am 100% with what Maya saying. I think that she's correct. That people were, no matter what Kamala did or said, they were gonna find a but she didn't, but she did. They were always gonna find a but to not vote for her. So
Exceptionally average says Harris did what she could, in my opinion, but she isn't white enough and she doesn't have a penis. And that's exactly what AJ's been
yeah,
saying. I
that's
mean,
what I'm saying,
it,
guys.
it sadly that is a lot of truth in that statement.
I
Exceptionally.
guess I guess the penis is where people hold their lack of emotion or something. I don't know, because apparently women are too emotional, and so if you don't have a penis, you can't
If you you don't make
control
emotional
your emotions.
emo, emotional decisions if you have a penis or non-existent.
I guess you use it to whip your emotions in check.
No, just probably ignore like domestic. Just probably ignore like some of the domestic violence where like people act on rage where men mostly act on rage because they're not allowed to cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I completely agree. Like, people are like, oh, women are so emotional. But when you look at the rates of people who are imprisoned, the rates of homicide, murders, all violence, crime overall, they are majorly committed by males. So yeah, I don't know who's emotional over there.
But a lot of people think that a lot of people think that menstruation uh a lot of people yeah, I think a lot of people at least a lot of the talk points is that like a woman can't be president because they have periods and they make bad and they'll nuke the fucking planet.
Okay, I can confirm that PMS can make you emotional. I don't know. Okay, maybe not emotional, but extra grumpy might be the word. But I mean, it's not like unmanageable. I haven't beat anybody up the last 2 days. I think Joseph can
I'm
probably tell
I'm
you
still
that
alive.
I've
I'm
been.
still alive.
I babysat 2 kids under the age of 3 yesterday, and they survived. They're still alive, and I am, in that
You
part of
didn't
the
you didn't
cycle
bash their
where
heads. You didn't bash their heads with a rock.
Or maybe you're just hiding it and spreading liberal propaganda.
right. Okay. Frankenstein says that yet almost every war has been started by men. Go figure. Yeah, completely with you on that. That's definitely another one. Um,
George Carlin, like, um, he's a good comedian. Or he's dead now. He, or yeah, George Carlin like joked about like how all the wars started were just like big, were like a pissing contest or who has the bigger dick.
That's pretty much it. That's how war is.
wasn't Trump talking about
Oh,
who
the
was the
golfer's penis.
golfer? Yeah, the golfer's penis recently, and like, damn, yeah, it was crazy. All right, so let me put on another video of those because there was this one specific video that I wanted to show because the inability of people to fact check and to live in reality just kind of shocked me a little bit watching this video. So I'm gonna put it on. Let me share my screen real quick. Gotta find the correct one. Okay. All right. What do you think about that? I was like,
It's just ignorance. It's just funny that
Childish.
yeah, but when they're given the facts, like when he called her out, so he basically told her, Trump's in charge of the military, and then present them with facts. That okay, so then brought in Ukraine, and then they're just like they don't know what to say, like they look stumped, but they still support him. Like they'll just like overlook that.
it's like mental gymnastics. Like they have to like bend it to make sense of something that didn't make sense or something that they were proven wrong. And it was like, no, but it's not wrong because there is a even wilder explanation.
It feels like they ate paint as a kid, because that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do to say like as a grown adult. Say everything Biden does as president, it's not as bad, but everything Trump does as president, even though he's not president, is good. Everything's bad.
Yeah,
Everything's
like he gets all the good. All right, let me keep going. Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier. How like all these media exposure or these social media influencers like Nick Fuentes and they're they really are shaping who people vote for and what they listen to. It's just crazy.
I think it's a great idea.
Okay, so that was the end of that video.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, interesting. I mean, there's again, it's just your generic Trump supporter, where they just
That was-
overlook everything.
Yeah, that was pretty clever from the interviewer. Like he brought up
yeah.
two Nazis, and he was like, and the guy was just the Trump supporter was like, yeah, these guys.
Yeah, there was one where they were asking people whether they thought what they thought about the whole they're eating the dogs and they're eating the cats lies that they've been spreading, and everybody believed it, and everybody was talking about, well, I haven't again I haven't seen the videos, so but I believe it. And then they were like, well, the interviewer was like, well, but even JD Vance said that it was a lie, that he made it up, and even the mayor of the cities and everybody in authorities positions were saying that this is not happening. So should we continue to talk about it? And the people being interviewed were like, well, yeah, because it's still true. And they were saying, well, even if maybe there may not be eating the pets, there's still I've seen videos of people out there eating the ducks and the geese from the local ponds. And I was like, God, are you kidding me?
Ducks are not domestic. Ducks are not domestic. I want a duck. They could be domestic. They should be domestic because they're cute. But they're not domestic. People fucking hunt them.
Right. Oh yeah. There was one part of the video where they asked this lady, and she was like, "Well," they asked her, like, "What about people that hunt ducks?" And she was like, Well," she got stuck, like she didn't know what to say, and then she went on to say, "Well, but there's regulations for when they hunt ducks," and the guy's like, "Well, but they're hunting them just for fun, just for sport, not even to feed themselves. Like, shouldn't people be able to eat ducks?" If they're hunting them for fun. And she was like, no, 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 because like hunting for sport is different. Like, oh, okay, lady.
I mean, killing is killing, but it is
Yeah.
interesting how they view that.
Also, it's kind of it's bullshit in another different way. The claim of why people generally eat herbivoric or herbivoric animals is because they have less is because they don't have parasites.
Yeah.
Eating, and if you eat a dog or if you eat a fucking dog or a cat, you could probably
you will get a parasite.
yeah, you can get
diseases. Yeah,
you can be shitting your organs out for days
probably.
by eating one of the by eating a cat and a dog. So it's stupid to eat a cat and a dog, and I don't see why Haitian people would fucking the documented immigrants from Haiti would even consider that.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's why we don't use dog or cat's poop for fertilizer. We only use like cow or horse poop for fertilizing vegetable gardens, because the parasites from the poop could get into your food. So yeah, and when that happens, that's when you get E. coli and all of that.
Plus, their shit's plant based, and plus, like cows and herbivores have plant based shit, so
Yeah.
that's good for them.
Right. All right, let me play this last video. This is the last one that I have. Oh, wait, sorry, sound's off.
What do you love about Donald Trump?
I love everything about Donald Trump. I feel he can be trusted and feel comfortable, and it's peace of mind.
And tell me a little bit about what you liked when he was president. What are some of the things he did that you agreed with?
I agreed with everything he did.
He
One
doesn't know
specific.
anything.
I can't think on the spot, but everything I'm happy with.
You're out here because you like.
Even the woman next to her is laughing because she can't even think of a single thing that she agrees on with him, but she loves
Loves
him.
him so much, and she knows he's such a great person.
Okay, yeah, this is the part where we get to make fun of them. Okay, sorry.
I will fucking die for Trump. What did he do again?
Donald Trump, I'm guessing.
That's right.
And what did Donald Trump do? You've seen one or two presidents, I'm guessing, in your 40 years. What did Donald Trump do as president that made your life better?
I like the way he doesn't back down. He might not always be correct, but he admits it, and he does not back down when it comes to the country.
What brings you out here? What do you like about Donald Trump?
So pause it real quick. So she's like, I like that he doesn't back down even when he's incorrect. So like that's you should not like somebody when they back down, when they don't back down when they're incorrect, because that's just like what is, oh my
That's just
goodness.
being wrong on purpose. Like,
And then being like, okay, I know that you know that you're wrong. You're gonna keep saying it and you're gonna keep believing that, but I still support you. It's like, I don't know.
He may be wrong. He may be a piece of shit, but he doesn't back down from it. He's a fighter.
He believes in his lies.
Frankenstein says volcanoes and hurricanes also never back down. Just say it. Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling that we are about to have a presidency that's gonna resemble either a volcano or a hurricane or a volcanicane. I don't know, a hurricane, a hurricane.
Says, should we vote for natural disasters?
Yeah, I think we will have a more peaceful. Yeah.
I'm scared to keep watching this. It's like, can it get worse than what we just saw? It's like
natural disasters is my president.
Yeah, man.
I vote for a hurricane. No, I vote for an earthquake. It's like, no, I vote for a volcano eruption. It's like, yeah, like who can destroy the earth, destroy the nation the quickest?
Yeah, I don't know, burning or drowning. I don't know what's worse.
Hey, I guess we could be like God and just make a flood, right? A great flood.
Yeah, maybe drowning.
Just drown
mean,
everybody.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
Everything was not to like, you know.
What specifically?
He's for the American people. I mean, look, he's in Pickens of all places, small town. You know, everybody else would have been in big cities and not caring about places like this. But he made a point to come to small town America. You know, so
I think a lot of people voted for the first.
No. He knew why he went to the small towns. He said it before. Like it is a fact that Trump gained the support of the lower income voters, the middle income voters, as well as voters without college degrees. Okay, and all of the major cities, whether they are state capitals or big urban areas, like where we live in Houston, we're near Austin. All the big cities are mostly Democratic, so he knew that they were already going to vote Democrat. So he focused on the lower education, rural areas, because as he says, he loves
low information voters. Yeah,
he loves the United.
He may have tried to get people. He might have tried to cheese people on his side, but he visited our county, and that's all that matters.
He
I
makes
know,
them feel
like,
special. He makes them feel
but
special.
he knows that he knows that it's like he it's so crazy how manipulating he is. Like
But
he,
that's the cult mentality, and like
yeah,
he knows
yeah.
these people are, like you said, most of them have like their religious shirts on, and like the Christian, obviously the Christian, not any other religion, and so he knows that he have the support of those type of people and like their local churches, and yeah.
He may have came just to get our vote and bamboo and tell people lies, but he came to our country.
At least he came. He showed up.
Showed up. Participation trophy.
You're right. Shit.
Yeah, exceptionally average. He said that he loves the poorly educated. Yeah, those are his words. That's exactly what he says. He loves the poorly educated, and that's the point that we were trying to make earlier. Okay, when we were talking about schools and the school system. Is the school system is bringing out people that are almost at the age of voting, but are not ready for doing that type of responsibility upon themselves. Like you don't have, yeah, and what they're trying to do with breaking down the Department of Education, with Project 2025, and giving out vouchers for people to send their kids to private, what they're gonna be calling sort of public specific schools, which are actually religious schools. Yeah, it's gonna lead to more kids being indoctrinated into this type of mentality, and where they get a lower quality of education that just comes from biblical teachings, and it's gonna be it's gonna be great for them. It's gonna be great for them, for their platform.
Yeah, that's exactly what they wanted. That he has that system worked out very well, like where the support comes from.
Yeah, they want
Um,
a higher level of poorly educated voters.
first time just because they never knew there was fake news and the rigged elections and indoctrinating our children and everything is the opposite of reality is what everybody tells you and everybody believes. He's the most unifying president ever in history, and all the numbers show it.
the most unifying
And probably
president
get
ever.
record black and Hispanic votes again this election, but they make him out to be the divider, and the most racist president, divisive president, is made out to be the unifier. You know what I mean? It's like it's crazy.
Tell me what you like about Donald Trump. What is it that you respond to?
He's not fake. He's upfront. You know what he's thinking. He tells the truth as far as
What do you like about Donald Trump?
I like his honesty and transparency, and I like that he puts America first.
He was a little more honest.
Exactly, America first every time. America first, because
But
nobody
the
cares about
honesty
the rest of
thing,
the world.
the honesty thing drives me crazy. That people think that they can't see through
Honest, kind of honesty.
all his bullshit. Like, why can they not see through that? I mean, is that the cult mentality where you're just blinded to certain things?
Yeah, pretty much. Like the other guys, like the other guy touted, or the other woman touted like he never backs down even if he's wrong, and that's sort of what's happening. That's sort of what's happening there. Like they are blinded,
Yeah.
and not only blinded, but willing to be blind.
Like, they acknowledge it and they still overlook it.
Yeah, that's the worst part, that they seem to somehow know it, but at the same time deny it. I don't know how that works.
Than the rest of them. He said things that were true, and the others they don't.
He seems like more of a man of the people.
Driven up here from New York for a Donald Trump rally. You must really like the guy. Tell me what you like about him.
I love how blunt he is and how straight upright he is and just says it. There's no holding back, and he just says it. And a lot of these people are just selling snake oil and stuff like that, and just telling you things you want to hear and just giving the stuff away, whatever they can give away.
You know, I have to say, it's hard to understand you through that thick South Carolina accent.
Donald Trump, there isn't much not to like about Donald Trump. He's got the heartbeat of America. Everybody I know is behind him. The United States went down 8 years before Trump. It's gone down even further since Biden's been in there, and we're backpedaling. The world's laughing at us because
where are they laughing at us?
So
Real
what
quick,
does that message say?
Frankenstein said, similar to the way certain religion things are believed to be good because God did them, when in fact they are atrocities. Yeah, religion and well, I guess it's power is the thing that really controls both religions and politics, to have like control over mass, like mind control. So I think that both of them are very relatable. So yeah,
I honestly think that Trump was never a religious person, but he saw how he could use Christianity to control pretty much everything that he did. And so he began to portray himself as a very religious person and to um, associate himself with all of these Christian nationalists, because he could see how all of these mega churches and all of these very powerful organizations like the Heritage Foundation could benefit his ultimate goal. And so yeah, I think he's absolutely using religion for power.
I mean, when you align religion and politics together, like those two sides, I mean, that's like the power that creates, or the level of power that it allows the person who controls both those together is scary.
Yeah. And I mean, if we didn't even have time to look at the Project 2025 today. I promise we'll do another one on that
Yeah,
specific.
I mean that could be another
But
just show completely by itself. We need to do it.
Join again for project for your. I can probably join again for your Project 2025 reading.
all right. Yeah, I have to make sure that I can get the images to fit properly on the screen and to figure out a way to do that so that our viewers can read them. So once I figure that out, I'll let you know. But yeah, we're definitely going to be covering that in the future, because it's just such it's so problematic. One of the things that I've recently learned is that actually Project 2025 is not a new thing, that they've been using it since the 1970s, 76 or so. And it used to be called Mandate for Leadership, and they developed it originally to um, to control like one of the Republican presidents that was coming on at that time. And so they've been putting out this mandate for leadership every 4 years, every presidential campaign. Right before the campaign, they will put it out there and sort of as sort of a base guidance for the next president, whether it was a Democrat or a Republican. They would push it on them, but the majority of the ones that sort of were like, well, yeah, I'll do whatever you want, were Republicans. So they focus mostly on the Republicans now, and that's why they focus so much on getting Trump to support it. And when Trump ran in 2016, they actually used the mandate for leadership that they had developed at that time, and it contained about 300 different of these policy suggestions, and Trump actually enacted about 200 of them. So 2/3 of what the Heritage Foundation wanted him to do, he did. And these were all kinds of different policies regarding national security, regarding like I don't know, the FCC, or like all types of different health. It had to do with education, all kinds of policies that affected both uh, local and federal on a federal level. So
Oh yeah, that's why that's why the whole he speaks his mind talking point is bullshit, because he got that from, because uh you know you know when he when he elected uh 3 out of the 4 supreme judges,
mhm.
that was him. That was the that was people like the in the Heritage Foundation, the
Oh yeah,
very people.
they were hand selected. Yeah, for sure. From that.
Yeah. and and Trump is Trump doesn't actually speak his mind. He speaks he speaks what his fan he does uh speak what his fans want to hear. Be, uh
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. What were you saying? I think I muted the actions today.
he doesn't speak he doesn't speak his mind. He speaks the minds of his supporters. Uh and the Heritage Foundation and a lot of the and other right wing media outlets. He speaks their minds, and he does, and it's like, yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, the thing is that they're also interconnected. That the fact that Trump claims that he doesn't know anything about Project 2025 is just laughable, because he was already doing the things that are stated in Project 2025. Like, he's already passed a bunch of those in his previous presidency. So I have no doubt that as soon as he gets um, gets into office, he's just gonna go and straight up and do what the Heritage Foundation is telling him to do, because the Project 2025 itself has a whole plan for the president. What is it, like the first 180 days or
Yeah,
something like
first
that,
180
Joseph?
days. But
Yeah.
but that's the thing. Yeah, so it's the first 180-day plan book that they have. But that's kind of the thing. So by him denying that, he knows that there's going to be the base or his voters that know about Project 2025, and they know he supports it. So they don't care if he denies it. They
But
understand
some of
that.
them want him to. Some of
Correct,
them want
correct.
him to
They want
support.
that, but they understand that he's publicly denying that he has any connection to it for the people who don't really know anything about Project 2025. And when these voters that are, that are swing voters, where they don't know exactly who they're going to vote for, that they're still either independent voters or they still don't know who they want to go for, that he knows by denying that most of them probably won't even look into it, and all he has to say is that it's propaganda, that it's a conspiracy, and people automatically start saying that, and it's repeated that Project 2025 is just a conspiracy, and Trump has already said he has something to do with it. So then these voters hear that and they don't look into it themselves, because they just hear conspiracy, and that word, a lot of people just decide not to even look into anything because they think it's related to just craziness. And I think that that's where we come into a problem when, like we were discussing earlier, people need to really look at topics like that, because even if you think that, oh, okay, someone said that's a conspiracy, Project 2025, wouldn't you still want to look into that and
You can
verify
go.
that yourself? I mean,
Yeah,
it's just so extreme.
like, you can actually go to the Heritage Foundation website. Okay, this isn't coming from anywhere else. Go to the Heritage Foundation website. They have the entire document outlined on there. So if you see, for example, this Project 2025 comic, that has all of these things listed of what some more simplified way of explaining what Project 2025 is, for what it means for each specific issue, like say
Yeah, that side.
abortion, trans rights, education, for health. So if you look at the comics, each one has a page listed to where you can fact check from the Heritage Foundation website itself. and look at all the wording. I did that because some of them I was like, okay, that can't be true. Like it sounds extreme. So you go and look it up from the horse's
Yeah.
mouth, and it's right there outlined. It's clear.
That comic is
yeah.
really good because it does break it down into a more easier to understand basis, for people who may not want to read through, a whole
900
booklet,
pages.
of stuff that are planning to try to integrate into our political system. So it takes out key things that are major adjustments to our current system, and I mean it gets those points out, to people who might not, like I said, be able to look into, read all of that to understand like how horrible this is going to be against our way of life, and our future, basically our future generations, how it's going to affect, where our path forward. It's scary. I know I say that a lot, but man, I guess I'm scared of a lot of the stuff that I fear could come true, because I realize the control that they're about to have. So we have to make sure that we keep up to date on, from day one, of Trump's first day of office, and this new Congress, and this new Senate. We have to be very, very alert to we know what type of bills they're trying to do, because they're going to try to sneak in a lot of this bullshit on larger bills, like funding bills and stuff. They're going to put it in as side. They're going to write it in on the side, and we have to make sure that we let the population know that what's in these bills, and what our senators and congressmen are voting on. And we have to keep the fire lit under them, to let them know that we are still here, even though that y'all have control right now. We're aware of what you guys are pushing, and we have to, the people that were voting for Trump just because the economy, or because where their financial circumstances, we need to, when these things do get brought up to vote, that they said, oh, Trump would never do that, so I'm not worried about that. I'm gonna vote for, for my pocketbook. We have to make sure that we make these people aware, that are on the line Trump voters, not like the hardcore liner Trump voters, but the people that were like, that aren't normally Republican, that may have been Democrats that voted Republican because I don't know, certain one specific issue. We just need to make sure that there are people that voted for Trump that we can make aware of what he's doing, so that we can take control during the midterm, back of either the Senate or the House, to make Trump a lame duck president after the second part of his presidency.
Yeah, Catching Monsters has a message for you.
And one thing I'll say is that, or the biggest things I'm afraid of in this election is the first thing is deportation. Is the whole even the documented immigrants, like just deporting immigrants for whatever fucking reason. That will tank. Not only is it a very, very shitty thing to do, like it's fucking demonic. Even as an atheist, not only is it that, but it's also going to be really bad for the economy.
Oh
like,
yeah,
like
there are a lot
the
of implications.
It's going to be really bad for the economy. Like, we're talking about millions of dollars in debt.
Oh yeah, and if
so hold on, sorry. The second biggest thing I'm afraid of is the whole thing shutting down the public school. Yeah, shutting down the public schools. Because more dog more indoctrination is probably going to lead to more Republican votes.
Yeah.
Saying, even if we do keep the 4-year term, people who have been indoctrinated are probably going to vote Republican, and probably going to be our major voters in our country. So that's the second thing. The third thing is of course, trans people. I have plenty. I know you and Joey have several family members or friends that are trans, and whatever the hell Trump does about that, like probably not. It's probably going to target like the healthcare. He's probably going to target their healthcare,
Mhm.
and it's going to lead to more death. It is going to lead to more deaths, either by suicide, or they could end up doing it, or in the more. This is not out of the realm of possibilities. People could try to do it illegal. Trans people could try to take treatments illegally, meaning it would be more fucking dangerous. And yeah, those are the three things I fear about this whole thing.
Yeah. Commenting on the last one that you mentioned, I have to agree to. Yeah, obviously I agree with all of them. But I wanted to point out that on the very last one about trans people, it also applies to women and abortion rights. Both of these issues sort of intersect, because it's about taking away the rights to body autonomy of both of these communities, okay, of women and trans people. Like, they are basically wanting these people's bodies to belong to the government, or like part of their bodies, like just their genitals, I guess, like to belong to the government, and for the government to be able to say what these people do with that. And that's a really big problem, because that's not something that men would approve. If suddenly women were in control and they were like, well, we get to do whatever we want with men's dicks, they will be like, no, you're not. Like, my body belongs to me, my dick belongs to me, I do whatever I want with it, right? So it's a little bit of like, a double standard for sure. So but in both of these cases, it does lead to a lot more deaths, as you very wisely just mentioned, Roadshow. In the case of trans people, it's because they can't be authentic and they can't be who they are, and they're being forced to like go underground and get all of these procedures done in illegal and unhealthy and very dangerous ways, and so it's going to lead to deaths. The same way that abolishing abortion did not work in the past, because women still needed abortions and they were still getting them, with the coat hangers and all these little crappy, I don't know,
Back alley
room,
abortion. Yeah,
like
back
a
room.
back
Yeah,
alley
yeah.
abortions, and that were extremely dangerous to the safety and the health of the woman. So it's like they're claiming to be pro-life to save a clump of cells, but they're not willing to acknowledge the sanctity of the life of somebody that's already alive.
Yeah, it also it objectively leads to the it objectively leads to maternity deaths.
Yeah.
Like, people die without people statistically fucking die a lot more than
I don't know.
in a
It's medical freedom.
Yeah, and not to mention like the health problems that come after pregnancy. You can probably speak. You probably can speak from experience, AJ.
Yeah, yeah. But let me point out. Since the abolition of Roe v. Wade, there have been 200 cases of women being imprisoned because they had a miscarriage. Okay, not an abortion, a miscarriage, like an accidental loss of a baby. Like they wanted that baby and they lost the baby and they were put in jail until they investigated and determined whether it was an abortion or not. Like the majority were not eventually charged. Some of them were charged, and like they lost time for like school or for like work
Yeah, they were
or
treated like
whatever.
criminals for
It's
something
like,
that should not have been.
right, like women are being treated like criminals, just criminalizing the fact that you become pregnant, whether you wanted to become pregnant or not, whether you're raped or whether you are trying to have a baby with your husband. Like they don't care. Like if you're pregnant, suddenly you're a suspect of some type of crime.
Yeah, and I feel that they want to be able to track that. They want to track women's periods. They want to know. They want to know all that basically, and that's something the government should have no business in.
And exceptionally average say they are already dying. And yeah, I actually cover some of these cases in the other show that I do, the nonprofits with the ACA, and we've covered like at least 3 different cases only on the shows that I've been on, um, with cases of women that have died waiting for medical treatment for miscarriages, not even abortions, just miscarriages. So
I don't know. I think Trump's gonna. I mean, this is all healthcare related. Definitely, I agree. What you just stated, how the war on the trans communities, like medical needs and women's medical needs, in terms of saying the body belongs to the government basically, and you can't do this, you can't do that. But just healthcare overall, the Trump administration is gonna try to take everything backwards from where we've gotten, with our. I know that the healthcare system we have currently, that Obama, they call Obamacare, it's been very beneficial, and Trump has been hell bent on destroying that, and he tried to his first term, and then they lost control of one of the branches of government, so they couldn't really get anything passed through after that. And John McCain said "fuck you" the first time that they tried to do that in that late night vote. But they're definitely going to come after that again, because the insurance companies are in their pockets, and they know there's so much money to be made in the healthcare insurance industry. There's so many lobbyists connected to the Trump administration, and
yeah.
healthcare is going to be one of the major things that they're going to attack as well. I mean, so every American that needs healthcare, should be aware of that and know what they voted for. it's fucked up.
Yeah, I'm a little scared because I have a lot of health issues and a lot of things that I always have to take care of. I have type 1 diabetes and have to get my insulin pump, and they're like worried about whether I'm gonna have uh, that medication that literally keeps me alive, and to have to even worry about that. It's like,
I'm probably gonna worry that they're gonna. I'm probably gonna worry that they're gonna take out your colloquial implants, because
yeah.
what we talk.
Yeah, that's a pretty big issue for me, because the only reason I was able to have this surgery was because I have this specific insurance plan that we have, and it was really expensive surgery, like $50,000. So if I didn't have the insurance plan that I have, I would not be able to have it. Um, so it's definitely a concern, but for the time being, I can continue to keep it, and I don't need to do anything to have it. But if I were to need, I don't know, an upgrade, or like, I don't know, if some of the inside parts that are inside my brain were to fail and need a replacement, then yeah, I will need to have a surgery, and I will be like unable to do that.
Yeah, worried if you have that coverage to be able to have that done. I mean, and that shouldn't be a worry.
And plus, like, there's some people who think that, and plus, as we've like probably discussed, AJ, There are people who think that God made you the way that you are. God made you the way you are, and you shouldn't change anything about it, nothing at all. And that's
Yeah, we talk about this on the Truth Wanted show that you called on the first time that I was on it. Uh, yeah, like I mean, I've had people say that no, you should be happy with the body that God gave you because God makes out of His children perfect, even if they're like missing a whole entire arm or both of their legs and both of their arms, they're like perfect in God's eyes or whatever, and like they shouldn't want any type of uh, assistive device to help them. But then these same people may wear glasses, and you're like, hey, take your glasses off, and then I can't see. Well, yeah, then if I take my cochlear implant out, then I can't hear. So
Or even having to take a medication. I mean, a person that would say something like that probably has to take some type of medication. I mean, you have allergies and you take an allergy medication. Well, why are you taking an allergy medication? God made you, have allergies to be allergic to cat hair. So just choke. Yeah, right.
throats. God made your throat swell up so you can't fucking breathe for a reason.
right, a little bit of suffering never hurt anybody, right? That's what they say, right? Like there's gotta be suffering in order for you to know joy. It was something like that. Anyways, so I guess it's almost been 3 hours. Um, do you guys want
It's
to
been
keep
a good it's
going
been a good
or?
show though. I mean, we've had quite a good audience it seems this evening. I really appreciate
Yeah,
everybody that's been tuned in. Um, we were
I,
political pretty much most of the show, but I think we've had some really good topics that we covered.
yeah, we've enjoyed having you, Rose Show. So we definitely have you back
I
for
definitely,
the
yeah.
2025. I
Yep.
I do have one more thing I'm gonna like mention before we go, and it's about what we were discussing about the different types of Trump supporters that people have, within their friends circles or their families, or and that there are very different type of Trump voters. Like you have the ones that are just misinformed people or swing voters or people who are not like extreme uh full of hate type of people. And so it's okay to like set boundaries, but it's important to set boundaries more so with people whose beliefs actively threaten the rights and the well-beings of others, whether it's, you're standing up for body autonomy like we said for women and trans people, or whether we're advocating for somebody's basic human rights. It's like setting these boundaries is not about feeling comfortable. It's just more about protecting like these vulnerable groups from the impact of all of these harmful ideologies that Christian nationalists are trying to push on everybody. So when somebody holds beliefs that support taking away another human being's freedom, it becomes more than just being uh different, right? It's just more like, oh, it's my opinion and it's your opinion. Like, no, it goes against the morals and values that make someone who they are, and or who they are going to become. Okay, and we shouldn't be enforcing or personal morals on someone else. So it's okay to hold different beliefs and values. Like if two people disagree on abortion, there's a way that we can determine through science and reason and logic which of these two stances, pro or against abortion, aligns more with a lower level of overall harm and a higher level of well-being for another human being. And you can compare the harms of, say, forcing a 12-year-old incest rape victim to become a human incubator to a fetus that is fathered by her own father, and then having to give that baby up for adoption versus allowing that child to have an abortion early as soon as you find out that she's pregnant. right? Like you can tell that there's a clear difference in the level of harm here. And you don't have to be an expert to understand that there will be no harm-free option. Like we don't have an option that is completely free of harm, but that there is an option that offers more comfort, both mentally and physically, to that child. And that option shouldn't be to have her carry the child against her will. That perhaps her father or whatever could have gotten her pregnant with.
Yeah.
So that being said, when we are talking about um, basic human rights, that those differences really do matter. So we can set boundaries to cut out people from our lives that hold these type of views, and we can feel that we are doing the right thing, because it can be like a self-care act, like you're thinking of your mental health, or you can be standing up loudly for somebody who's afraid to speak up because their life is at risk, like trans people. Like we can be that voice of reason, and we can tell these people, okay, what you're holding onto is harmful, and try to help them. Like I've had family members who voted for Trump in the first election but did not vote for him on the second or the third time that he ran. So you can have people that voted for him once and realize, hey, that was wrong. Like I can change my mind about it. But then you have these other people that have had 4 years or 8 years actually to think about Trump's bullshit, and they still continue to decide to support him. That's the type of people that you can say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna set a boundary here. Like, what do you guys think about that? How do you feel about it?
I mean, I'm we might be on the same page, but I'm a little hesitant because I have a grandma who's Christian and Republican, and cut and it's not cut and dry like as their belief. It's not
Yeah.
cut and dry with their beliefs. Like they or my grandma genuinely thinks she's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
My grandma genuinely thinks she's doing the right thing, even though yeah, it's sad I can't convince her. It's very sad I can't convince her that this is the wrong fucking path, but um I probably wouldn't actually be here. I wouldn't actually be here probably if she didn't uh take me in. If she didn't like get me on my feet and stuff.
Yeah,
But
like
there's
there's definitely a lot of people who may hold on to some of these beliefs, but they're not like horrible people, and they're not actively out there, uh, trying to be purposely harmful. We talk about this a lot with religious people, right? Like they may be Christian or Muslim or whatever, and we don't agree with their belief, but we can still keep them in our lives because they're not, like I said, they're not actively trying to harm someone. And sometimes there is something that they've been indoctrinated with since they were kids, and it's just all they know, or their age. Like your grandma, she's a lot older. My parents, my Joey's parents, it's just something that sometimes, yeah, you definitely have to make that decision and be like, okay, no, this is somebody that I disagree with, but it's somebody that I also love, and I'm not going to like just cut them completely out. So yeah, I completely agree with you that there's definitely people that we can, or that we should, or that we shouldn't cut
Yeah.
out. Or yeah,
I think that we should be able. I mean, like you're normally able to be able to tell a person who voted, who's extreme in either politics or in religion. I think, like AJ said, that they kind of go hand in hand. And I mean, even if you have a family member that voted for Trump, I think it's important to leave the line of communication open, because you want to be able to, don't let them just be manipulated and cut them off, and then
Yeah.
they're cut off from everybody who has a logic view. If they don't have anyone who's there to help them realize they're brainwashed or in a cult or seeing something, or just like being controlled, never give up on that. Maybe put them in a distance, but keep communication open, unless they're like extremely extreme, where it's a like, very open bigoted, or anti-trans, where they say they'll harm somebody. Like, that's extreme. Like, I would cut that out completely. But if it's someone who is not pushing those extreme views that they voted for, I think they still have the mindset where they can be reached and reasoned with, and switch over. Like AJ said, we had some family members who did vote for Trump, in the first time he ran, but the second two times they didn't. And it was because they were reasoned with. We had some hard times with, during that. And so, I mean, to see that people can change from what they believe as truth, or as 100% complete, what was the right thing to believe in. I mean, they can always have their mind changed, as long as they're willing to accept new information or new views that are brought into there. And if they don't have anyone to give them outside information or different perspectives on some of their beliefs, then that's just dangerous. So I believe that we do need to not cut people off completely.
Yeah, that's why I like having like these conversations and these type of shows, because we get to see people with different views, and have open discussions and respectful discussions, and we learn how to do that, and without being pushy, or without being like you're wrong and you're suck, or stuff like that. Like we
Yeah.
actually, we ask questions, and we get their answers, and they get to ask us questions, and we give them our answers, and it's
Open
just
political
yeah,
discussion is
yeah.
so important, to be able to openly discuss politics or high topic items, things that affect our lives. I mean, if we don't openly talk about them and keep them in a human, I mean, a discussion where we can be civil, and if we always just say no, we're never going to agree with each other. I mean, that type of division is where it has got has what has gotten us where we are today, into today's political atmosphere, like where we're
True.
like the vision where we don't want to listen to the other side, and the other side doesn't want to listen to the other. I mean, there's so much division. There's no type of compromise between either side. I mean, there's some things you can't compromise with that are, you would consider just hateful things, but we can convince a party to get some of those hateful things out of their party. It's like Trump basically took over the Republican Party and has created his own party now, which is like a hijacked version of conservatism.
Yeah, it's like
People
going
think that it's
for the
conservatism, but
right.
it's really not. Yeah, it's like extreme to the right. He like shifted it, and he brought all these people over because they saw that's where the power went. So everybody decided to follow that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so there's a quick comment here. When I did my election and birthday uh, video on my channel, I said I asked for people to guess how old I was, and I say that I may or may not give my age out. And exceptionally average is calling me out on that. And it says if I'm going to admit my age, hundreds of people want to know. Probably like 3 people might want to know that commented on the video, but
But
yeah.
at least 200 people want to know. You have 200 over 200 subscribers, so
Why do you creeps want to know?
No, I say that I will give my age, so he's asking because I mentioned it. So
no, I think it's funny that he's asking.
yeah, if you had to guess,
Will she tell? Will she tell? That's the question.
should I? Maybe I will. Rose, show you guess how old am I? How did I turn?
Careful with your words, Roadshow.
Probably kids. You're probably in your mid-30s or 40s.
All right. You're closer than everybody else. I think exceptionally average said I look that I was 24, I think.
I believe that's
Exceptionally
right.
average. Tell me in the comments what was your guess. I can't remember, but I remember seeing some in the 20s. But yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but I have a 13-year-old child. So I turned 39 in November. So I'm almost 40. I'm gonna be 40 next year. Yeah.
I was thinking you turned 38, so 39.
Well, no, I'm from 85.
Yeah, you're
I'm from
right. You're right.
1985. So
I'm a year behind.
you're
Exceptionally
here,
average
yeah.
said mid 20s.
Okay, yeah. I thought it was like 24 that he said.
Well, she when we first started dating, when we would go to restaurants, they would always offer her a kids menu. Like no matter where we went, they always thought she was my child.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm always carded. Okay, like every time I go somewhere to get a drink, that they always ask me for my ID. And this year, right before my birthday, it was the very first time that I went into a restaurant and I accidentally ordered a drink. Okay, I ordered a Coke Zero, and the waiter brings me a Jack and Coke, like without even asking for ID or anything. I drank it still because I wasn't gonna waste it. But yeah, it was the first time that I wasn't asked for my ID. I guess I finally looked 21.
One thing I want to know is you got me curious now. Do you did you did you say that you were a kid to make it cheaper?
Oh, would she order from the kids menu?
Well, no,
Hey, we may have snuck into the movies, but even recently saying you were still a
yeah.
child.
Okay, yeah, we did do that. We did, yeah, yeah. Okay. Uh, yeah, that was because my 13-year-old is like slightly taller than me right now, like about 2 inches. So yeah, I look like a kid. So it's like, nobody ever asks. But no, I eat a lot, so I didn't want to order from the kids menu because I wanted the full size meal. It may not look like it, but I love to eat. So
Exceptionally average said my wife guessed late 20s.
late 20s. Oh, that's good. I'm glad I still look in my 20s. Cause yeah, sometimes I'm like, my age is starting to show, but yeah, I'm glad it's not.
Sorry, early. I meant to say early 40s. Oh, earlier. I was like mid 30s or early 40s.
Early 40s.
I didn't 40s.
Yeah, but probably because Joe told you earlier that he's 44, right? So you probably guess like we are not like that far apart.
Can't be too big of a difference.
Actually, I didn't remember him telling me that he was 44.
Oh,
okay.
I just went based off I know you have kids.
Yeah, just one kid, but
Okay,
but
so
yeah,
a
he's
kid.
13. Yeah, we will say they just because they're non-binary, so that's why we say they. But it's just one teenager.
One teenager.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting tired, guys. I don't want to be the party pooper, but
Yeah. Speaking of food, I'm hungry.
I may be hungry too. Tired and hungry.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
I hope we can definitely have you on again, Rogue Show. It's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed you hanging out with us.
Yeah, yeah, love to explore the comic of Project 2025 with you.
Yeah, that one's gonna be very interesting. Yeah, we have a lot to say about that, and we have so I think the next week we are gonna be busy with the next 2 weeks we have like two separate family Thanksgivings. Then I believe the week after that we have Richard Gilliver coming on, and he's actually going to be on with Secular Rarity as well, because that was the plan originally, but then they got the dates mixed up, and then they both told me that they could do the same date. So it's gonna be a 4 people show. That should be fun. And they both want to do a very long show, so we might be on for like a middle of the night show. We'll see. Now, but it's gonna start. It's gonna be earlier in the day because Richard
I
is
know
in
they.
the UK, so he's gonna start at 4. I'm sorry, at 3 our time, 3 p.m. That's gonna be December 7th, in case anybody's wondering, at 3 p.m. Central. And so yeah, we're gonna go until whatever time we finish.
Both of them are very talkative and can pretty much go on
Yeah.
forever. Both very interesting.
Right. Yeah, they got a lot to say and a lot of interesting. We have a lot of interesting topics about consciousness and ghost hunting and the mind and all of that type of stuff that we're probably gonna have a lot of questions. So yeah, we hope that you guys will join us for that, and then we'll definitely have Roadshow again on the show. Anything else you want to say, Roadshow? Where can people find you? I
Yeah,
think you
we're
have your.
Find me where my name. You can find me on YouTube. I have a TikTok dedicated to singing, but I haven't done that well.
Singing, really? You don't have to send me that.
So my TikTok is not enough tenor.
Okay.
not enough tenor.
The best I can offer with low quality. Yeah. And Roche, and my YouTube channel is the username displayed below, Roadshow296.
Wait, I think it has a 4 at the end, doesn't it?
It does as far as email.
Okay.
Probably like
Gotcha.
the sort of account goes. I don't know why there's 2964,
All right.
but just look up 296.
All right, sounds good. And you're also always on Discord, some of the Discord channels, and you do one of the news. Right? Do you still do the news for the ACA on Wednesdays?
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. All right. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
That's the news show that they started doing, right? The news articles or the news topics on the Discord.
Yeah, it's kind of like similar to the non-profits, but it's like a
Nice.
live and just voice. Yeah. So, all right. So I think we are gonna go now, and thank you guys for being here, for hanging out with us, and we hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, appreciate everybody. Have a good evening.